afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. Welcome to the big 100th live chat here on Brooks's Base Corner. We got there. We got to 100 live chats. I can't believe that when I did the first one in December 2020, that's how long ago it was, that we'd get to 100. I have to say that by the end, well, let's say November 2022, I didn't know if there was much mileage in live chats here on Brooks's Base Corner. You proved me all wrong. That was roundabout live chat 23, 24, 25. I thought, no, they're not going to last. No one's interested. Here we are. We've done 100. So thank you. If you're a regular viewer here on Brooks's Base Corner, regular attendee on the live chats, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. All those who've got involved, turn up week after week, listen to me prattling on, getting involved in the base chats that we have, all the super chat contributions, amazing, can't do it without you, all the likes, all the comments, all the shares, thank you very much. Juice, good to see you. Congratulations, thank you. So we got there, we got to live chat number 100. Here we are. Thank you for all the views and likes and comments and shares and new subscribers. Crikey, it's been loads this week. I got 2 videos up this week. How about that? I can't remember the last time that happened. So if you've missed the content here this week, there was gig vlog number 3 from last week's shows with Platinum ABBA down in Bridgewater. And then last night, very late in the day, I thought I was going to get this one out the door a little earlier than I did, but it was late. But anyway, it's there. There's a video that I've recently filmed and put out last night talking about 5 pieces of important advice that I'd give myself if I could jump in a time machine and travel back to 1995, 30 years ago when I started doing this professionally. What would I tell myself? What would I tell the 23-year-old Mike? Give him the advice that I think would help him get through the next 30 years. Anyway, that video is now on the channel. I will put links up shortly. So if you want to check those 2 videos out, you can. Bill Derbyshire, good to see you. Thank you. I do have the celebratory cake. The cake is here. Obviously, I can't give you all a piece. Unfortunately, with all the developments in technology, we still don't have a way of passing matter digitally through cyberspace. But there we go. So we have a very nice apple and blackcurrant crumble cake for those who are into this sort of thing. I'm a big cake lover, of course. And so that will be coming my way shortly. So, yeah. Here we are, live chat 100. If you're new to Brooks's Base Corner, you've never been on one of these live chats before, you're elsewhere on the globe, welcome, come on in. We talk bass here. We're talking bass guitars, amps, effects, strings, accessories, cleaning tools, how to keep your bass in tip-top condition, how to set pedal boards up, anything to do with playing bass guitar, being in a band, playing for your own enjoyment, auditions, playing professionally, amateurs, semi-pros, the whole lot. So if you want to come in, talk bass, welcome. Steffi, good to see you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. So what news have I got for you? So as I said, we did last weekend, we did live chat 99. We were down in the Macmillan Theatre in Bridgewater. I was playing with Platinum ABBA for 2 nights. So I did gig vlog 3. If you haven't seen it, let me get you the link and you can watch it at your own discretion, of course. That's the fella. There we go. We want that. And that's going to go straight into there. And I should say, while I'm doing this, welcome to all the people watching us on Facebook. I'm now routing these live chats, not only via YouTube, but also via Facebook. So you want to check out Gig Vlog 3, that's there for you. Mike, note to yourself when you go back on Monday, put in all the bits and bobs for this video, put the link in the timestamps. Great. So that was Gig Vlog 3. Shows were great, as you'll see on the video. A lot of fun. We had a blast. That venue It's just really good. It's nice. It's not too big, not too small. You can kind of have a bit of banter with the audience. And we had a blast. Looking forward, hopefully being back there next year. Hopefully, with a bit of luck. And then last night, as I just mentioned, I put up a video, 30 nuggets of advice I'd give myself 30 years ago when I was starting out on this trail of being a professional musician, professional bass player. I didn't know all the answers then. I was 23. I knew that I wanted to be a professional musician, but I had no guidance. I had no mentor to guide me in any of it. It's all been on the fly. I've learnt stuff of it as I've gone along. As you encounter people and people who've done it for years, you try and pick up any advice they might give. But generally, most of the time I've had to do it myself. So if I can pass that knowledge on, certainly to the younger players coming up, I mean, the world you're coming into, the world generally is totally different. But going into the professional musical world, dipping your toe into that professional world and the world of gigging, recording, interacting with other musicians, being in bands, traveling the world, it's a different place. Seriously, if I look back now, 30 years, when I turned professional, the options seemed endless. The amount of gigs you could do, the amount of places you could play, getting out there. None of us knew that social media was going to come along or the internet would be as big as it is. How you can just contact people, literally. If I wanted to try and get hold of someone now, I just go on social media. As long as I can find them, you can send them a message. Whether they reply or not is a totally different thing. But back then, that wasn't a feasible option. You had mobile phones, you had landlines, email if you had internet access at home. A lot of us didn't. So, I didn't have email access at home till 1999, 4 years after I turned professional. I literally relied on a landline and an answer phone for the best part of 4 years when I turned pro. Didn't hurt me. You learnt a lot. But it's a different time. Now, the kids coming out, I see 23-year-olds advertising their professional abilities on Facebook, and I'm thinking, you don't know the half of it. There's really, there's a lot of things you've got to learn yet. But there we go. You've got to learn somehow. You've got to get out there and do it. But where these kids are going to play, I've got no idea. The London cover circuit now is a desolate place compared to what it was 30 years ago. It worries me. I really don't know where the up-and-coming kids are meant to learn the craft. It's all well and good going out there doing gigs, but there's something you learn rolling your sleeves up, getting your hands dirty, doing pub gigs, doing club gigs, learning how to interact with an audience, learning how to interact with bar and club owners. That's a skill in itself. All those little elements will make you become a more rounded musician and person. But where are you supposed to learn that? You ain't going to learn it in music college, I can tell you now. For all the great lecturers out there, the great teachers who do all this, a lot of them don't gig or haven't been on the gig circuit for decades. Things move on. I wrote a series of columns for Bass Guitar magazine 12 years ago called Cover Stories, How to Make a Living as a Musician. When I read those columns back, there's about 16 or 17 columns. Half of the information in there now is totally irrelevant because technology has moved on. The things I was talking about have completely changed, literally flipped on their face. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know. If I went to write that column now, it would be considerably different, very different. I mean, my whole way of operating as a musician, the work I do now is totally different. I don't work in those covers, pub, club realms very much anymore. Not through choice. It's just that I'm not in bands that do that sort of thing. And the kids are coming up through that. But like I say, there aren't that many options to do that. Well, certainly here in London. here in the southeast. There are places, but whether you're going to get paid much for doing it, that's one of the big considerations. But hey, there we go. So that video went live last night. Let me find that for you. Here we go. If you haven't watched it, feel free. It's about 22 minutes long, I think. Samatsa, good to see you. I was watching some of your videos the other day. Hope you're well. So this is the video that went up yesterday. By all means, check it out. If you can get any advice, any pointers, feel free. If you've got any comments about any of the videos here on the channel that you might watch, whether it's either of these two or others, please leave comments. It's a big deal. It really helps the videos do well, helps the channel do well, helps me do well. Also, I'll say from the outset, likes, please. If you can like this video, like any videos you watch here on the channel, it's a big deal. Far more so than subscribers, although if you wish to subscribe to the channel, feel free. That's great. I won't ask you to do it. I think it's a vanity metric. I get more views on my videos than I've got subscribers. So as far as I'm concerned, the way YouTube treats subscribers in terms of passing my content out to those who are subscribed to the channel doesn't reflect in the analytics. I've been saying this for about 3 months. It's a little disconcerting that my most viewed video's got 21,000 views plus. Yeah, I don't have 21,000 subscribers, and if I go into the analytics, that video hasn't been presented to all of my subscribers. So if you wish to subscribe to the channel, fabulous, thank you very much. But far more important is liking the videos, particularly this live chat, of course, leaving comments, and sharing the videos out to social media. So if you're on bass pages, music pages, channels, if you wish to share any of the content here on Brooks's Bass Corner, then please feel free to do so. It's very much appreciated. Red Devil, good to see you. I don't think you've been here before. I don't think I've seen you here on the channel, but you're very welcome. Good to see you. Hello, Mike. Let me put this up. As a pro bassist, do you have a minimum fee you work from? Been offered some regular gigs, however, I'd be earning a lot less than the UK minimum wage, especially with travel, etc. Yeah, this is a contentious issue. Stacey, good to see you from North Carolina. Scott, good to see you too. You'll be off for breakfast shortly. I know what you're like. Hope you're well, Scott. Hope everything's good. Yeah, we got into a slight conversation last week with Manfred, I think he was in Puerto Rico, about what I was getting paid on the gig. And after I'd said it and looking back at the footage, I thought, you shouldn't have said that. I don't generally go into incomes. It's everyone and everywhere is different. So here in the UK, there are bands that will play up north on the cheap because that's what the gigs are paying. And then down south, the gigs might be more, but they might be for the same chain of venues, or they might not. It's a very difficult thing because also I'm very aware that this video is going to be on YouTube for years and years to come. So what I say now in 20 years is going to be irrelevant. However, the whole 30 years thing, if I look back, I earned more, even though I was paid less. In real terms, I was paid more 30 years ago because your money went further. When you were doing £100 pub gigs, club gigs in 1995, 96, 97, 100 quid went quite far. If you did 3 of those in a weekend, you were doing good. But then I always looked back at that time and thought of the bands that were playing London pubs and clubs in the 80s and getting 100 quid, and their 100 quid went even further. So here we are 30 years on from that. And the 100 quid really doesn't go very far at all. Certainly not here in London and in the southeast. So once you pay your tax, your national insurance, you put fuel in the car, get to the gigs, you might have parking costs. I mean, so many of the gigs now, you got to pay to park. We never really had that. There were some gigs, but a lot of the time you didn't have to pay to park. Now it's becoming a necessity. So once you add all those costs, you have to weigh up, is it worth me doing that gig? And if you're in a regular band and you're out gigging all the time, so for example, I was in one band for 17 years, I put my lot into that band. So I would still do deps, but my priority was the regular band, because the way all the guys in that band saw it was, if we do all the gigs and we make ourselves a really good band, then in the long run, we're going to come out with more work. And if I look back through my diary, that is the way it panned out. So we made ourselves really good. So we were always in demand. So we got more work. The situation now, if I was in that position, I would have to hedge my bets a little. Being in one band, am I cutting off a whole load of other work? Now, I'm very aware that being in that one band for years meant I didn't do as much depping as I would have done. But then again, all the bands I would have depped in, I wouldn't have been the regular bass player. So unless I was in 4 or 5 bands, you aren't able to spread yourself. Then you have to weigh up. Generally, your gigging days are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It used to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that's not quite true so much now. But unless someone out there has created a carbon copying machine that means I can be in 2 places at one time, you can really only do 1 gig on a Saturday night. Same on a Friday, same on a Sunday. So being able to be the bass player in 5 bands is a nonsense, because you can't do the bulk of those gigs. Okay, you may say, well, not every band is going to be working on the same dates, but if you're a good band and you're a busy band, you're going to be playing Fridays and Saturdays for sure. Well, you can't be in 5 bands in 5 different places on the same night. How does that? So it's very hard. It's very hard. And it is a conundrum. I've been there. When I was in that band for 17 years, there were times I thought, well, I'm missing out on all this other debt work. But then I was looking at what I was being paid. And now looking back, it was good that I stayed pretty much in one band. Debt stuff I'd take if I knew we weren't going to get a gig in for a particular night, or if the lads were on holiday or away or doing other things. But for me, that was kind of the way. So your question there, do I have a minimum fee? I do now. For years I didn't. And up until the time my mortgage was paid off 8 years ago, like any bass player, you hear the same advice, which is take every gig you can. Sorry, put my teeth in, be good. Take every gig you can. Do as much different stuff as you can. Network like a demon. And do as many different things as you can, because you never know when working with one person on a cheap gig could suddenly lead to loads of work further down the line. I've been in that position, and that is true. But on the flip side of that, I've done many one-off gigs, debt for people, pulled all the stops out, done a really good job, and then never heard from them again. Never been asked back, not been asked to debt for that player again. And you have no control over that. So in terms of a minimum fee, when we came out of COVID, I kind of set myself a limit. So bear in mind, I don't have mortgage or rental costs, so I don't have to come up with that amount to pay the bank each month. But I don't want to leave the house for less than 100 quid. I've got my YouTube channel. So for me, unless a gig is worth doing, I'm going to stay here doing videos, because in my view, that's going to earn me more in the long run. So I tend not to do stuff less than 100 quid. Anything less than 200 now is not a priority. So if I take a gig and it's less than 200, and one of the other bands that I work with that doesn't require me learning any songs, I know all the stuff off the bat, they will take priority, and because they offer me more work. So doing a one-off or a debt for less than 200 doesn't make sense anymore, especially when you factor in the amount of time. Certainly for theatre shows and things that are slightly more polished than doing a pub gig, you've got to learn all the stuff. And I've done stuff since we came out of COVID, one-offs, learned entire sets, done the show, and then not heard from them again for a year or 2 or 3. And then they expect you to go out and relearn that whole set again, and the money hasn't changed. And I'm kind of like, well, I did it the once, and I knew it took me 2 or 3 days to do it. So have I got that time to do it again? And often the answer is no, I haven't. I did it the one time. It was for a one-off gig. I've forgotten it. Yeah. So even if I've made notes, even if I read charts, and I've got all of that. I've still got to put that time in. And for me, I said this on last week's live chat, big thing for me at the moment isn't so much the cost of a gig or what I'm being paid. It's the time. It's the time you've got to invest. So it's the time learning it. It's the time getting it all super tight and polished before you even leave the house. It's the time that there might be involved traveling. How far away is the gig? You know, how much am I paying in fuel? A lot of bands still don't pay fuel costs, which is fine. It might be included in the price you're being paid. But you have to weigh all these things up. So younger guys who maybe live at home with their parents, again, they don't have to think about mortgage or rent, maybe. They can do gigs on the cheap. And I say go for it, because this is where you're going to learn how this whole machine works, is to go out and do those cheaper end gigs. But as a pro, as I say, if you're in a regular band, just take the gigs. There will come a point, there'll be like a threshold that the band will say, we're not going out for that. But here's the thing, and I used to hear this all the time and thought, yeah, I kind of get it, but work is work. Gig's a gig. We've all heard that one. Is that if you work for a chain or work for a venue or work for an agent and you have a fee that you get, and then you agree to do a gig on the cheap, unless that's a two-part gig. So, for example, my old band, we used to play in a place where if we went to that place one time in the year, say summer season, we would get a stupid amount of money. If we got a second trip to the same place at a different time of year when it was more quiet, we had to take a reduced rate. But when we looked at the financials over those two trips, what we would earn as a band, it made sense to do it. However, that was a bit of an anomaly. So if you work for a chain, work for an agent, work for a booker, work for a client, and you do a gig for a fee, and then the next time they ask you, you have to drop the price. We need a better price. We need a more competitive price. Is there a reason why they're asking you to do that? So if it's the fact the client hasn't got as big a budget, that's fair enough. So you go in for that lower fee. However, I have experienced agents, bookers, people at companies asking you to do gigs cheaper because, and I said this on a live chat a few weeks ago, we did a corporate event and the client wondered why we didn't look miserable, but we weren't happy and buoyant and, hey, isn't everything wonderful? She said what she was paying to hire us, and we knew we weren't getting that fee. So what had happened was the agent had asked us to drop the fee considerably, and they were pocketing the difference. They were still putting us out the same price that they'd put us out previously, but we were getting less of the wedge. We were trousering less of the money. So that can happen. Now, the other thing is when you go in less, chances are you're never going to get that money back up. And if they get you down once, and you enjoy the gig and you say, oh, you know, if you need us again, chances are they're going to try and drop it again. Now, also, I've experienced at the chains that we started out at a certain fee, thought we were doing well. Then they dropped the fee, said, you want to keep the gig, you've got to drop to that price. And then they dropped it again, at which point I left my old covers band. I know that chain carried on dropping their fees. Their money now is less than half what they were paying 20 years ago. So you have to weigh up. Is it worth it? Is it worth doing it? Once you get into the realms of doing private dues, weddings, corporate events, that money far exceeds your pub and club work. So if a chain is, or a small pub is not willing to pay you what you think you're worth, then it pays to go and do the private booking stuff. But you will always need your bread and butter work, your club work, your pub work, because that is the work that gets you through the quiet periods. It is. I've been there. Those quiet months between January, February, March, mid-March. If you're doing this and you don't have a regular daytime job, you need that extra money coming in. So yeah, Red Devil, sorry, that was a convoluted answer, but so you've been offered some regular gigs. However, I'd be earning a lot less than the UK minimum wage. Well, it depends on whether you are freelance and you're working for a band, or you are in a band and a venue has offered those gigs. So if you can elaborate a little, we can go into that with a bit more depth. But again, the whole travel thing, for me, I've been offered gigs that once I've factored in the travel, it was like, it's not going to happen because it's not worth me doing. But, you know, you always do gigs. You always take the gigs. You always, you know, anything I've offered you. And it's like, yeah, but I've got bills to pay. It's not a charity. I can't just get in the car and, you know, waste £60 on fuel just to get your gig done. And then I've not got much in my pocket at the end of it. It just doesn't work. And now doing my YouTube content, as I say, my currency is time. I might get offered £100 gig and think, yeah, I know all the stuff. I'll go and do it. But if it means I'm away from home and I can't do my content and all the stuff I have going on at home, then it's not worth me doing it. So but also you've got to remember, I'm of an age where I've had 30 years of doing this. So I know what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And having the power to say no is a fabulous thing. That would have been point 6 in yesterday's video. Learn to say no to things. Very hard when you're a young musician, you're building a reputation and you want to be seen as the guy that always says yes. You want to take the work because, again, you never know where you might just meet someone who works on another project and you're just the person they want and they'll bring you into that project. I've been on that receiving end. It's fabulous when it happens. But again, I'm very aware of my age. I'm not 25. I'm not wearing trendy clothes and looking hip and down with the kids. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm quite happy in my skin. I'm fine on that respect. Right, let's get into these messages here. Scott M, I have my breakfast with my friends today as usual, but then having a new little GK combo coming in the mail. Good for you, sir. The little MB12, which will be my first GK gear. Let's have a look at that. The MB12 combo by GK. Let's have a look. It'll be a 1x12, won't it? 200 watts. Yeah, looks nice. Yeah, well done, Scott. Can't really go wrong with Gallien-Kruger stuff. It's great. Kind of bomb-proof, really. I've got an MB200 here, which is a little Class D amp. I've taken it all over the world with me. Lovely little amp to have before everything had aux inputs for phones and headphones and what have you. I used to use that amp, just sit, plug in, connect an external music source, MP3 player, just practice with that. Great, really good. Enjoy, Scott. Enjoy. That would be great. Neoland, good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thanks for all the comments, Pete, on the videos this week. Very much appreciated. I've been watching your videos as well. Keep popping up in my feed. So all good. Stacy, yes, the private booking fees need to be more since those are one-offs unless someone's offering more events down the line, which is to your point about the seasonal pricing for that one client. Yeah. We started out just doing one trip a year for that client. And then they kept saying, well, we'd like you to do 2. And we said, great. Okay. Yeah, great. And then once we'd done one and we'd done the 2 trips, they said, we need to reduce the fee on the second one. It was like, right. Why is that then? They said, well, you're the only band that we're going to give 2 trips to and the higher management. To which my response was, well, you'd be paying another band the regular fee. So why do you want us to take a cut? Basically, it was you scratch our back and we'll scratch yours. Lo and behold, we then had 2 trips for 3 or 4 years. I wasn't going to argue the toss, and the guys in the band weren't, because when we added up what we were going to get paid if we stayed here in the UK at that quiet time of year, the trip abroad was almost treble what we would take in for that month. So it made sense. Now, if I look back through my earnings sheets from that time, it was off the charts. It was like very good. And when you stop doing it, you suddenly realize the financial hit. It's like, oh, yeah, right. So we're back to what back to a third of what I've been on for a couple of years. But there we are. I should say also, people coming in from Facebook, coming in from YouTube, welcome, good to see you. There's a ticker running along the bottom of the screen. If you want to come on live, you can talk to me by video. Red Devil, if you're still watching, if you want to come on live and talk about what we were talking about, you can do it on camera. You can do it just on audio if you don't want to show your face. Email me brooksysbasecorner@gmail.com. I'll get the email here on the right hand side of my screen. I send you an invite, you click on the invite, you come through. Simple as that. You can talk to me, you can talk to the rest of the people here on the live chat. You're very welcome. That's how we run it here. So yeah, if you want to come on live, you can do. That's how we do it. You can come and join in live. It's all good. So anyone bought any new gear? Obviously Scott's got his GK combo coming. We're now getting out of sales season, I guess, post-Christmas, New Year. So if you've bought anything, let me know. Obviously, we've got Brooks's Base Corner merch. A very nice fetching orange Brooks's Base Corner t-shirt on. Actually, if I get rid of the banner, you can see it all in all its glory. There we go. There we are. You too can own these. There are links in the description box below. We've got about 170 pieces of merchandise, 15 different designs. You can really help the channel. So if you want t-shirts, hats, caps, glasses, mugs, drinking water bottles, tankards, there's clothing, there's leisure wear, there's cases for phones, iPad cases, lunch boxes, a million things. If you want to help the channel, merchandise links are in the description box below. At the bottom of the comments box, which is the live chat window, you'll see there's a box which says chat or comment. Put your comment in there, press send, it comes up here in the live chat window. Next to that, you'll see an emoji icon, so feel free to give that an absolute pummeling. The more emojis we get in the chat is a good thing, the way the algorithm sees the live chat. Next to that, you see a dollar symbol in a rectangle. It's called Super Chat. So if you enjoy what we're doing here on this live chat or any of the videos on the channel, feel free to contribute to the channel. You don't have to. Watching the videos is all free. Doesn't cost you a penny. But if you want to help me, help the channel, keep the channel going for as long as possible, everything you see here on Brooks's Base Corner, all the equipment to get the live chats and the videos done, all the reviews, the demos, everything has to be paid for. So if you want to help me, that's the Super Chat facility. Very much appreciated in advance. We have affiliate links in the description box below as well. So if you've got any bass related purchases and you're thinking I've got a new bass, new pedal, new amp, strings, accessories, gig bags, use the retailer links in the description box. Once you make the sale, we get a small affiliate commission back here on the channel, and that helps keep the channel going as well. Juice, thanks for the tip regarding the IEMs. My pleasure. You bought a second set as backup now. How are they going? Are you okay with them on gigs? Have you used them? What do you think of the sound? I mean, I stand by mine. They're fabulous. I'm actually going to do a video probably this week. It'll be an affiliate video for Amazon. So I'll take you through the IEMs, my wireless setup, the little gator bag that I use to house it all. But I love them. I love them. If anyone's wondering what the hell we're talking about, ask me and I'll put up some links and show you. Pete from Neoland. It's easier for me to call you Pete than Neoland, all right? I finally got a real heavy bass. Okay, a Harley Benton TB70 in matte black. Let's have a little look there, see what that looks like. Harley Benton TB70. Well, you got, oh, he's got a Thunderbird lookalike. Cripes. Okay, how's the balance? That's the big deal. How's the balance? And in matte black as well. Get you, Mr. Stealth. Excellent. Juice, I changed the tips to foam type. Okay, found a great fit and improved low end. There you go. I actually just bought another. I've got sort of replacement tips that I bought a couple of years back. Just bought this from Amazon. So basically for about £4, you get loads of different shapes, sizes, and focus, man. Focus. There we go. Loads of different colours, shapes, all of that. So I'll be using these as we go through the summer, doing all the festivals, which are heading my way. Bill Derbyshire, I've been using my new Hills Next HNB5 fan fret bass. Very happy with it. Hills Next HNB5. What's that then? I don't know what that is. What's that? Hills Next. Ah, okay. It came straight up in Google. How about that? Was it an HNB5? HNB. Okay, from Anderton. Let's have a look. Oh, one of those. Okay. Looks like a copy of a Strandberg. I guess that's what they're based on. I'm assuming they're Chinese based, maybe? Chinese built. Sorry. Ah, very funky. Very funky. Nice. But I presume it balances well. Headless and all that. Samatsa, IEMs are awesome. We've been using them for years. Hard to go back now. Ain't that the truth? Yep. I can't really... Well, I mean, I'm still doing gigs where I don't use IEMs. I do gigs where I still use backline, like last week. But a lot of my work now, I don't have backline. But the IEMs are great. But the IEMs come into their own when you are in control of your mix. It's a bit different when a sound man's doing it, because once you're in mid-gig, you can't really change anything. When I do Uncle Funk, I've got the mix on an iPad in front of me and I can do everything. I want more hi-hats, I can have it. I want more bass drum, I can have it. Snare drum, yeah. I want to bring the guitars down, keys up, horns down. Normally they're blaring behind me, so naturally they're coming down a bit. But yeah, so IEM's really, for me, are best when I'm in control of my mix, because I know what I want to hear. The sound man can do a rough mix sound check or what have you, but once we're in the depths of battle, things change, frequencies change. People in the room soak up frequencies, and it all changes. So, Bill Derbyshire, it is, but it's a lot cheaper. Oh, right, okay, based on the Strandberg, got you. Cool. What's the tone like? You know, flexible EQ. Pete Neoland, yeah, that Thunderbird has no balance whatsoever, but I don't think I'll do a lot of gigging with it. You've got the Bootsy syndrome. I've got to get on with that this week. I've got to find some way of making that work. There will be workshop stuff going on this week. I've basically, after today's gig, I'm gigging in the centre of London tonight. If you're in town, anyone in town, you want to come and see me? I'll be playing at Greek Street Live, just around the corner from Charing Cross Road and Tottenham Court Road Tube. Yeah, no gig next week at the moment, so I've literally got 2 whole weeks for content and workshop and getting the basses up and running and having a bit of a tidy here in the office and getting the Fretless Odyssey started up and the podcast. So plenty of work coming my way, but yeah, I've got to get the Bootsy bass because gigs are approaching where I'm going to be needing to use that. So yes, I get it. Right, cake time. 100th live chat. Woohoo. Right, I'm going to cut this because I'm starting to feel a bit peckish, you know. So, I have here, I said I would get a cake in for today. We have, we can get it on camera. There we go. It is an apple and blackcurrant crumble cake. How about that? You want to see what it looks like when I cut it? Hopefully something like that. Whether it does or not, it'll be like a McDonald's advert. They all look great, and then you get one and it doesn't look anything like it. So, let's get in here. This might become a regular thing. Brooks's cake of choice on the live chat. Oh, and while I'm at it, I need to ask you all. Listen up, gang. I need to know. We're in middle of February, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got about another 6 Saturdays of live chats booked in. So I now get to the point I've got to make a decision. So I would like to know, and I've done this as a poll on the community tab before. Do you want to keep live chats on Saturdays, or do we move them back to Tuesdays? I need to know, and I need input, because I can keep it as Saturdays if you want, but if you want it to go back to the old Tuesday, so in the UK it was Tuesday evening, in the US it was Tuesday afternoon. If you want it to go back to Tuesday, let me know. Brooks's Cake Corner. Juice, that's going to be the next channel, I think. My sister cooks great cakes. That might have to be a family channel, that one. Very possibly. Oh, here we go. But yeah, I need to know, what do people want to do? It looks good out of the box, I have to say. There we are. I'm not putting candles on it. It will become too messy. I'm not blessed with tons of space in here. Right, this could be a challenge. I hate this thing where you get cakes with a plastic surround. As soon as you take the surround off, loads of it falls out. And then if you try and cut it with the surround on, you try getting the cake out. Doesn't happen. Woo! There we go. I picked this myself yesterday. Anyone that can't see me, I am here. Let me get rid of the banner. I haven't disappeared, I promise. I've just got to bend down a bit to do it. Come on. Oh, I knew this would be. Right, let's just cut through the tape. There we go. Right, remove the surround. Don't fall to bits, please. This is the joy of a crumble cake, you see. It's got all the crumble on the top. It wants to offload. Right, the knife's gone in. It's a good start. It's holding its place. I tell you what, there's no flies on Tesco. They put a proper board underneath it as well. Excellent. No. Half separation here. Come on. Out you come. Come on. I haven't cut to the same point, have I? Has it ever taken a man this long to get a bit of cake out? Come on. Oh, I see. The bottom bit of sponge is thicker than we thought. Well, it's not looking too bad, I have to say. Well done, Tesco. That's not a bad try. Where are we? There we are. Look at that. Yeah. For cake aficionados the world over. It's not too bad. Happy 100th live chat, everyone. We got there. I have to say, when we were around the mid-20s, I thought this isn't going to work. It's just not working. No one's interested. But here we are. Very good. Right, where were we? Bill Derbyshire. I don't normally play a 5-string, but it helps with the singer changing keys all the time. Been there, seen it, done it. Sound on the bass is very good. Excellent. Samatsa. Yes, individual control. Here, let me put all this up. Individual control of your IM mix is great. I use an Allen Heath ME1. Okay. Yeah, in Uncle Funk, we are on, well, we've just moved over our mixer and wireless system to a Yamaha. But obviously we control our mixes individually on iPads and phones. And it works really good. It works really good. Yes, Stacey, cake. It's all there. I'm trying to do it with that. The light's bleeding. There we go. Good. Smats has got his tea on. Excellent. Brooks's Cake Corner. I've got to remember that. I'll remember that when I go through the edit on Monday. Very good. Happy 100th live chat. Thank you. Thank you. It is right. Well, here we go. The acid test. It looks delicious. Is it? I will tell you. Tesco, you need to start sending me free cake. Yeah, it's rocking. The black currant jam is like sharp. Works really good. If you're heading out today to Tesco's, gang. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Well done. Good choice. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. I'm well impressed. Thank you. Yeah, Tesco, let's get it on. Exactly. Very good. Right, Juice. Do Uncle... here we go. Do Uncle Funk have own engineer? Yes. We had... up until very recently, we had 3 different guys. But 2 of them were kind of the regulars. Now we're down to 1. So I'm guessing there might be a backup one coming on board sometime soon. Front of house gets mixed during sound check. So our engineer does everything on a iPad, the whole system, so they can literally float around. And when we're doing festivals, they start where the main board is, and then they'll move around the location. And they can do our ears as well, but this is generally the responsibility of the individual. So that's why I have my mix on a pad, but I also have it on my phone as well. So generally there's no excuse. Sometimes I've had situations in the past where the changeover from the previous band to us is so quick that I haven't had time to set my pad up on my mic stand or on my board. So I'll just go with what the sound man's giving me. And then usually they'll come up on stage once or twice. If it's a festival show, we're only doing an hour anyway, 75 minutes, maybe 90 at a push. So they'll come up and ask us, what do you want? What do you want? Is it all right? Is something need to change? We tend to, it's usually okay. You know, we don't tend to have IEM disasters. If anything, it's batteries dying. You know, because all the packs get checked before we go on. But there has been occurrences where they might check them before the band turns up and it says full charge. And then some idiot might leave their pack on, or sound check might last a long time. And then as you're getting towards the end of the second set or the main set, it might just go. Batteries are a law unto themselves. I've had brand new batteries out of a pack that are dead. So, you know, it's luck of the draw, really. But yes, we do have our own engineers. I can't remember last time we used a venue engineer. Maybe we never have in my time in the band since we came out of lockdown. There's always someone. So, and if it is a case that we have to use an in-house engineer, then our guy will be doing our monitors. So, but you know, I never hear bad things about our out front mix from people who come to the shows. Gary Harrison, good to see you. Hope you're well. Thank you for your messages via Facebook. Hope everything's well. Have you bought that area yet? We need to know these things. Stream health is excellent, by the way, so we're very good there. Good, good, good. I'm just checking everything. It's all looking good. Just checking everything's working. I think it is. Grand. That's all good. Yep. That's all working too. Super. Yeah, there we are. Good. Not yet. Sorry for the rant earlier over Bruce Springsteen's drummer. Mate, don't have to say sorry. I thought it was well overpriced as well. Sorry, Gareth sent me a link to Bruce Springsteen's drummer is doing a request show and charging ridiculous money for tickets, as though he's Bruce Springsteen. Someone's miscalculated their celebrity, I think. I would suggest. You missed the cake, Gareth. You've missed the cake. It's good. It's really good. So if you want to come on live, talk to me while I'm eating cake, you can do that. There's a ticker running along the bottom of the screen. Email me, brooks'sbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You click on the invite, you come through, and you're live. You can be on video, or you can just do audio if you don't want to show your face. It's all good. If you're watching after the event, you can still get involved in the conversation by leaving me a comment, and I will respond to your comment as soon as I get a notification from YouTube. And thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you for all the input on the new videos that have gone up this week. A new one went up last night. If you haven't seen it, there's a link elsewhere in this chat. And I'm basically talking about the 5 pieces of advice I would give my younger self if I could get into a time machine and go back to 1995. Oh, Gareth, you couldn't have had much cake because you're diabetic. No worries. I'll eat your piece for you then. There's big bits of blackcurrant in this. It's fab. It does make me think of the cake scene in Afterlife 2. But anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check it on YouTube. Especially the outtakes. Rob Regan, welcome. I don't think I've seen you here on the channel before, but you're very welcome anyway. You're a rhythm guitarist by nature, but you've recently got into bass guitar. Good for you. Welcome to the light side. I recently purchased an Ampeg SGT DI pedal. Very good. Use it for recording. Have you any thoughts about this pedal? Yeah. All the Ampeg pedals are good. They're built to last. Tonally, Ampeg has a character, and all of their pedals pretty much follow that tonal imprint. So you're going to get, it's probably not too dissimilar from a Tech 21 Sons amp, which was always based around having an Ampeg SVT in a box, and that's what the Sons amp was always about. The Ampeg SGT DI pedal is basically a later version of what the Sons amp is. It's a good piece of kit. It's the sort of thing, keep it in your gig bag, keep it in your gig box. If you go out gigging, something goes wrong with your amp, instead of using a clean DI box, plug into that. The XLR that was in the amp, plug that into that pedal, and basically you've then got your amp going out front of house. Whether they're feeding any of that back to you on the monitoring is a separate issue. Obviously, you can't use that and plug that into your cabinet. It doesn't work. It doesn't have a power section. But it's a good pedal. It's a good pedal. You bought well there. But did you compare it to any other DI pedals at the time? If you went in a shop and took that with you and asked them to plug you into all the different bass preamp DI pedals, you'll hear all the differences. So from that, you will hear that the Ampeg is quite different to Mark bass. It will be very different to the Aguilar tone hammer, which is what I use. It will be very different to the Electro Harmonics Battalion. There's so many of these pedals out there now, but the Ampeg one will follow their kind of their tonal imprint. It's no bad thing. It's very good, in fact, if that's the tone you want. So if you're after really powerful, clean tones, like slapping, things that maybe aren't too rock, distortion, it probably wouldn't be the pedal for you. But the fact you've got it and you're using it, I would imagine you're very happy with it. It'll give you more sort of grit in your bass tone. Sorry, probably a bit bottom and top heavy, and not necessarily sort of articulate in the mid-range. That's what I kind of define an Ampeg bass sound to be. But either way, you got a good bit of kit there. So yeah, some people, some bass players I know who do a lot of recording have numerous different DI preamp pedals because they know they all sound totally different. And really, the sky's the limit when it comes to spending money. I mean, you can buy a Reddit DI I think they're about £500, £600, but they're super high quality. But then my point is, if you're in a recording session, once you've got the whole overall mix, is anyone going to hear that £500, £600, £700 of quality? They might do. I don't know. I don't do enough recording to be fair, I don't. So I've got a Avalon U5 over there. That's what I use if I'm doing recording. But like I say, if you want to hear the character of an Ampeg pedal, put it up against a load of other similar spec pedals, you'll hear the difference. But then, excuse me, I have a Sons amp, I have a Tone Hammer, I have the Battalion, I've got the Avalon. I think I've got EBS Micro Bass. I've got the 2 and the 3. All of them sound totally different. So, you know, that's just the way it is. I think when I get the new board totally set up, the smaller one, I'm going to have the Battalion on, which will be my rock board for when I'm doing general covers, gigs and rock stuff. Gareth, you saw the video. And all very good points. Very good. My advice to you're on about your younger self. You are young. Come on. Albeit sometimes more about the hang than your ability. That's true. You're more likely to get hired if they get on with you than someone with more ability. That's a fit. That's a bit of a dick. It's true. I've seen that. Some people might argue I fall into that category. I have done on occasions, but then there's also been the occasion where I've probably gone and done a dep for someone or been asked to play for a band and thought, I don't want to do this again. I always believe if you're going to an audition, you're auditioning the people you're auditioning for as much as they're auditioning you. No point joining a band just for the money and you don't enjoy it, really. It's the worst thing. John Cooper, good to see you. Thank you very much. Happy 100th. You can't usually make these Saturday chats, but couldn't miss the Century Edition. Bless you. How's that status doing? You've been out gigging since Christmas? I don't think we've seen you on here since Christmas. Or maybe you were on the first Saturday that we did in January, maybe. But I'll reiterate the question to everyone. Do you want to stay on Saturday live chats, or do you want to move it back to Tuesdays? I need to know in the next couple of weeks because I've got to start booking them in. And I know some people have said, I haven't got time on Saturdays to do live chats. Make it the Tuesday. And then I get other people going, oh, Saturdays are far better. They fit in with my schedule far better. So I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. It's got to be one or the other, unless we do both. But I don't want to split the audience, so I end up with half the audience on a Saturday and half the audience on a Tuesday. Juice, best piece of advice I was ever given was to play with musicians who exceed your ability. It forces you to better your game. Yep. Although, it's not always possible. And sometimes those people who are better than you look down their nose at you and won't take you on, won't work with you. I've seen that happen. Been on the receiving end as well. Or they perceive that you're on a lower level to them. Funnily enough, I have experienced that. And then I had those same people come to me 10, 12, 15 years later going, have you got any gigs? Have you got any work? Do you need such and such in your band? You just lodge those little bits of history in your brain. Gareth, you're good either way. Thank you. Right. Well, the cake was a win. Excellent. Very good. I'd love to send you all a piece. Unfortunately, I can't. But I will be doing, later in the year, the one-off Brooks's Base Corner t-shirts, which will be winging their way to the Super Chat contributors through the life of the channel. I have a list of you all within the YouTube studio, so I can see everyone that's contributed to the channel via Super Chat. You will be getting a one-off t-shirt. I will be getting them made in bulk, and they will be coming your way. So you know who you are. They will be getting done this year. I will see to it in the summer. John Cooper, you've only had one gig since Christmas. Okay. I'm on my... Actually, today will be one. What have I done? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gig 6 since 21st of December. My 6th gig since then. You've been playing the Status exclusively. Very good. And non-stop to get used to that narrower string spacing. Played your thumb the other day and it felt so awkward. Welcome to my world as I have to move between different basses here. You notice it. I notice it more now that I'm not doing 4, 5, 6 gigs a week where I could take out a different bass and just play and go for it. Now, when I move between different basses, I feel it. I feel the difference on the necks. And, oh, am I going for a high G there? I think I'm a fret short. I had that actually last week. It happened on the gig. I was playing the Status and I suddenly thought I was on GB spacing. And I was almost like half a fret out and I caught it. I thought, whoa, you aren't there. You aren't there. Mid-gig as well. Interesting moment. I could hear I was going to be short on the run. I thought, no, you need to keep going. We got there. We got there. Don't forget to give the video a like. Comments and shares, most welcome. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everyone who's been watching the videos this week. It's been a blast. I hope you enjoyed the contents. We had Gig Vlog 3 went up, which was from last week. John Wicken, thank you for your subscribe last week. You came up on my list, middle of the week. John Wicken has subscribed to your channel. Thank you. Hey, Brooksy, why do you think the price of custom basses has gotten so ridiculous? Right, we can go down that road, definitely. The only builder whose price fair is Marauschik. Yeah, custom bass has gone up. I still think there's I still think we're paying the price of COVID. I think we're still covering the cost of all the shipping containers being in the wrong parts of the world. I think we're still paying for the increased price of materials that happened after COVID. I think inflation across the board hit the world. It wasn't 1 or 2 countries that got hit with inflation past couple of years. Here in the UK, we've had the cost of living crisis. And nothing's really dropped in price. My shopping hasn't got any cheaper. If anything, my food shopping's got more expensive past month or so. Gas and electric hasn't really come down. Although it's not at the peak it was 2 years ago. Everything, it doesn't feel like we're in any sort of comfort zone, and I think the world is in a very precarious place, especially the past couple of days. It's like every day you turn on the news and wonder what's going to happen next. It's a crazy time. I mean, a week and a half ago, we were on an electric and gas tariff here in the UK. We were on a tracker because I thought by the time we come out of spring, the wholesale price of gas and electric might come down. And then I saw that China were putting tariffs on heating and fuel. And I could suddenly see we're going to end up in some sort of global fuel tariffs war. And I'm not sure I particularly like the sound of it. And I said to my partner, as we're locking in, we go for a fixed price deal, because even if the prices come down during the spring and summer, I bet you if this drags on, and it could, that by the time we get to next winter, the prices could be double. Well, I'm scaremongering, aren't I? You just don't know. It's so volatile that I'm not willing to take the risk. So I've locked us in on a 16-month deal. At a reasonable price. I did all the price comparisons, and it seemed fairly reasonable. So I thought, well, if we have to buy our way out of the tariff, which is £50 per fuel, that's fine. We did it once before, and it worked out in our advantage. So if the prices radically drop, great. But the way I'm looking at things at the moment, and the turmoil that's going on, you know, the way things are being talked about at the moment, Europe could be in the middle of a war by the summer at this rate. I don't want that, of course, but just craziness. I don't get any of this. It's nuts. So I think all of those things, the cost of living, transportation, fuel, that's why custom-based prices have gone up. Got to remember also, for example, the reason Bass Player magazine stopped being a published entity was the fact that the cost of paper had risen to 5 times what it was before we went into COVID. And because of that, the publisher said, we can't carry on with that title. It's cost too much. The cost of distribution, fuel costs have gone up. It made no sense for that magazine in financial terms to carry on, even though our subscriber base was increasing, our advertising revenues were increasing, and the magazine readership was on a very firm footing. They just said, we can't, in terms of physical material and transportation, we can't run it. So it's worldwide pressures, worldwide factors, of which we can do nothing about. You and I don't set the price of, you know, lumber prices and electronics and metals. I mean, God, everything I'm hearing about steel and aluminium trade prices at the moment, you know, cans of fizzy pop are going to go through the roof because what's it stored in? Aluminium cans, of course. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing all of those pressures are what is contributing to the price of custom bases. The only thing is, if you've got some, and certainly the desirable ones, your quid's in, because chances are you bought them when they weren't ridiculously priced. Don't even get me started on what my Alembics are worth. When I bought them, one in 2014, one in 2015, I paid that price. We came through COVID. I checked the prices. They've almost trebled. Great for me. If someone wants to buy them, who's going to have the money to buy a second-hand Alembic that's approaching 10 grand? There's always a buyer, of course. Not that I'm selling, I'm certainly not, but it's that factor, isn't it? Gareth Harrison, find the switching between my P and Jack Cassidy. Yes, the change in frets and fret positioning. Bill Derbyshire, the Mirage bases are very good for the price. Yes, they are. Highly recommend them. Yes. Reviewed several, love them all. Never played a bad one. Don't forget, merch links are in the description box along with affiliate sales links. If you've got any base purchases, any gear, you can help the channel. Just it will be the same price as if you were buying from those retailers. There's no price increase. So if you're buying a set of £20 strings, use one of the retailer links in the description box. You get your strings. We get a little affiliate commission here on the channel. That helps to keep us going. Thank you in advance if you choose to go down that route. I'm going to be doing some affiliate videos to promote my Amazon stores this week. So they'll be here on the channel and they'll be uploaded onto Amazon as well. Need to start getting my affiliate links motoring. Rob Regan, many thanks for the advice. Pleasure. Stumbled upon your channel. Thank you for stumbling. And I'm so glad I did. Thank you very much. You enjoyed the content. Search the channel. There's about 550 videos. If you find some content that you enjoy or that helps you or gives you some information, fabulous. That's what we're here for. We're a very friendly bunch. So you're welcome on the live chats anytime you like, Rob. We're here every Saturday afternoon up until the end of March. And then over the next couple of weeks, I'll decide whether we're going to stay on Saturdays or whether we move to Tuesdays, which is what we used to do. This has been, or by the end of March, this will have been a little bit of a 3-month experiment just to see, because I was getting so many of the US viewers complaining. That doesn't matter that it was a complaint. It was fine. I understood the complaint, which was we always did Tuesday nights, which was Tuesday afternoon in the US or Tuesday morning. And everyone was at work, so they couldn't really get involved in the live chat. So I've moved it to Saturdays, and a lot of them still don't turn up, which is why I'm tempted to move it back to Tuesdays. But if people are going to say they prefer Saturdays, then that's what we'll stick with. I'm also very aware that Saturdays work great when we're in the winter months, when people don't really want to go out and we're just after Christmas and money's tight. But as we get into spring and summer, people go off and do things on their Saturdays. They don't want to stay indoors watching a live chat. And I totally agree. So that's the other reason for thinking I might move it back to the Tuesdays. Pete Neoland, I agree with you. And William, my Marouche is great. Only that name. Yeah. Marouche. I always spell it perfectly because I had to get it right when I used to write the reviews. And it caught me out a few times, so I learned how to spell that properly. John Cooper, speaking of strings, just received a set of custom hot wires to give them a go. I don't know who's making them now. It used to be Piccato made them for them. Then I suspect they went to, what's the company, begins with N? Newtone. And I'm not sure, I can't guarantee it. In fact, I don't know, so I'm not even going to say it. I thought I'd heard a whisper that Status strings were being made by GHS. I know Elites used to be. I'm wondering if Status maybe is still with Newtone. I don't know. I've never had a set of Status strings. I was always very happy with Piccatos and stayed with them up until 2015. And then I moved over to Rotor Sounds. And now I've just got a complete mix of strings in the string box in the workshop. So, but generally I'm still using up my old sets of Piccatos before they start to rot and fall to bits. And got tons of Rotor Sounds in there. So those are the usual preferences. Although, actually, there's about 8 basses that I've got to take into the workshop to do stuff on. There's going to be some real mix and matching going on. So I've got some DRs, got the neon strings. I'm looking around trying to find them. They're on the workbench, you idiot. You put them in there on Tuesday. The Alembic Persuader's getting a restring. 2 GBs are getting restrung. Stingray's getting restrung. Trying to think what else is getting done. The Harley Benton Marquis is getting done. JD's getting done. That's your signal, Joe Goose, to appear. The Precision, the Ash Body Precision, the FSR, that's getting a restring. And the Lodestone up on the wall, the white one over there, you can see it. See if the camera will focus on it. There you go. That's getting a restring as well. So yeah, going to be busy this week. There'll be a lot of old strings going to It's a String Thing down in Neath, that's for sure. Gareth Harrison, what are your thoughts on backbeat rumble packs that attach to your strap to give the feeling of low end when going ampless? I think it's a bit of a gimmick, but I have a friend who swears by it. Okay, so through the 2010s, up until the last bass show in 2019, I was very aware of the platforms, the Porter and Davis, the Ike, I know Dave Swift very well, of course. Afternoon Dave, he doesn't check the channel, but it's okay. I have invited him several times, but he's a busy chap, so that's all cool. And very aware of it. But you see, that platform works great for Dave, because with Jules Holland, he stands in one place. He's not moving. He's not gallivanting around the stage. Dave isn't a man known for his dance moves. So in that situation, the platform works great. The backbeat works on exactly the same principle. So it's taking a feed from the mixer or your amp or whatever and creating sub-bass frequency that you can feel in order to replicate standing in front of an amplifier, but without all the noise that an amp would produce. I have no problem with the backbeat rumble packs. If people want that, that's great. When I moved over to using IEMs, when I joined Uncle Funk and we came out of COVID and I did all the gigs, I had a backbeat rumble pack on my shopping list, and I thought, going to get one of them. And after about 3 gigs, I thought, I don't actually need that. That's just a purchase to, what's the word? Soothe my need to feel bass rumble. I actually have really great bass in my ears using my IEMs, the KZ ZS10s. I have no need for rumble. I have no need for that. And I have my bass frequency really well delivered in my IEMs. Now, backbeat was designed and sort of kind of, they came up with that idea before a lot of the IEMs had 4 or 5 drivers in there. So before they would have had 1 or 2. Well, most IEMs now have 4 or 5 drivers in. So you're getting good quality bass frequency, good mids, and good top end. So if you're getting decent bass in there, what the hell do you need something on your back rumbling away for? I don't personally get it. I've had this conversation with certain retailers, but then they're in a position where they're selling these things. I'm not selling anything. I don't need to sell backbeats. They do, and they fought their corner. It wasn't an argument. We had a what do you call it? An exchange of views. And I said, well, I can't really see the point in it. But for people who don't have great IEMs, then yes, it probably solves an issue. I know I've stood in front of amplifiers most of my professional career. Well, what would it have been? 24 years. I still stand in front of amplifiers. I go backwards and forwards between IEMs and backline regularly. I don't need a platform, and I certainly don't need a backbeat. The other point on this, pick up a backbeat and feel how heavy it is. Now, for the past, well, probably for the whole of my career, all I've ever heard bass players moan about is the weight of a bass, having a strap that will distribute the weight properly. Everyone's talking about lightweight straps, lightweight basses, got to take the machine heads off, got to make them lighter. We need hip shot ultralights, got to reduce the weight of the pickups, reduce the weight of the bridge. And then they go and slap a backbeat on the back of their strap. So all the weight you got rid of having this super, 2.5 kilogram bass, and you've swapped all the hardware off, you've just completely replaced with this heavy thing on the back of your strap. What's that all about? And then on top of all of this, you got the backbeat rumble. Fine. If you're using IEMs, you're going to have an ear pack. So that's another bit of weight on your strap. And if you're going wireless, if you're plugging into an amp, or even if you're not, but you're going wireless, so you're going to have another wireless receiver, you're going to have another pack on your back. So potentially on your strap, you could have 2 wireless packs and a backbeat. I don't get it. I don't get it. So unless someone's got a heavy bass and they're a chunky chap and they don't mind having all this extra weight, where's it going? I don't, what is more important, having a lightweight bass and saving yourself from back grief, or having a thing pounding your back? I don't get it. But if people want it, it's their money. They can do what they like. Personally, I don't need it, and I don't feel the need to promote it. I've never spoken to anyone at Backbeat. If they can produce one that's lightweight, great, go for it. But the one that I picked up, which was the version 1, when I visited a store. It was really quite heavy, and I thought, well, why are you going to put that on your strap when everyone's been moaning for years about reducing the weight of their instruments? Certainly you wouldn't wear something like an Alembic or a heavy, serious, like a wall. It's going to be seriously heavy, well, reasonably heavy. And then you're going to put this big chunk of metal on the back and it vibrates, which is great. But why are you adding all that extra weight? That's my point. That's my view. John Cooper, is it WD-40 to use for cleaning the phenolic fretboard on a status? Yes, it is, John. Spray it onto a rag or kitchen roll or an old t-shirt, whatever you wish. Don't spray it directly onto the fingerboard. You can, but chances are it might leave sort of round marks where the drops hit it. So spray it onto whatever you're going to rub the fretboard with. Just put the spray on the thing you're rubbing with and then rub it up and down. And if you want to clean the frets, fret erasers. You'll do that when you restring. Very good. Quite right too. You'll be surprised how dark the fingerboard will go. It doesn't last forever. You probably need to do this every time you change strings. I always do on my status anyway. But it works. And it's what Rob says you use. So it's coming from him. Gary Harrison, if they are that heavy, it could solve the issue of neck dive on the Bootsy. I don't think I could strap an Apollo rocket to the other end of that bass. I don't think it's going to solve that neck dive. We'll see. We'll see. But again, you see, I only use the Bootsy. My intention with that bass was only to use it for the first set of Uncle Funk shows if we're on a two-setter, especially in the theatres. Or for when we're outdoors doing festivals, when there's no point me having a bass with LED indicators up the neck because it's daylight. So on a festival stage, it looked great. But yeah, I mean, before I ordered the wheel weights, I attached 2 tins of baked beans to the bottom end of the strap on the opposite side of the body. And that made no difference. So I don't know if the backbeat would even be heavy enough to sort that bass. I think it's beyond solving, if I'm honest. I'm waiting for someone from Warwick to find my videos and get into a conversation. Maybe they won't. I'm not a big enough channel, you see. I haven't even hit 4,000 subscribers yet. So there we go. Let's just check the stream health. Let's see we're all good. It's all healthy, it says. Great. Analytics all looking good. Fab. Thank you to the new subscriber. We just picked up a subscriber since we went live. Doesn't necessarily mean they're on the live chat. They might just be watching a video. Although I have, in the past 24 hours, had multiple people join the channel and leave the channel. Doesn't necessarily mean they're the same people. But people have been coming and going. That'll be the dogs. We're obviously getting a delivery. The dogs are off. There's no prize for anyone saying who let the dogs out either. Just want to make that clear. So very much looking forward to my gig this evening. It's a request show in central London. Greek Street Live, just around the corner from Tottenham Court Road Tube. Should be good. Manfred Oliveris, here we go. Hey, how are we doing? You almost missed it. No, we're going to be here till probably about 5 o'clock, I think. From Puerto Rico, yes, indeed. I saw yesterday your 5 things video. Thank you. Did you enjoy it? Did you get any use from it? Did you find it useful? hope it, I don't know. Yeah, if you're out there doing this professionally, or even if you're just starting, hopefully it'll give you some pointers. I could have done with a video like that 30 years ago. But there we are. Gareth Harrison, would the D'Addario Troy Dare guitar strap help with the Bootsy bass? I don't know. Let's have a look, see what that is. Is that one of the ones that goes round? It might. It might. I'm just having a whole load of straps just appeared. There's a load of Levy's ones here. It could do. But again, I'm looking at those, and the straps themselves aren't that thick. Really. They're no thicker or wider than the one I currently use on that bass, which I use because basically someone in the band bought it for me as a Secret Santa present. So I wanted to incorporate it because they got the hump that I didn't use the strap for a while. Strap like that, it's not just, it's also incredibly practical and like traditional. It's, yeah, it might. It might. The only way for me to find out, do you know what? I might even contact D'Addario, contact their UK distributor, and see if they'll send me one, and I'll test it for them. If there's one bass that could benefit from it, it's going to be this. I will look into that. Thank you, Gareth. Well done. I will check that out. Note to self, Mike, when you're going through the edit on Monday, contact D'Addario in the UK for a Troy Dare guitar strap. See how we get on. It might. If that solved it, then great. I'm still lumbered with a 60-pound Groove Gear strap over here, though. But as I said, I'm going to use that on one of my Alembics anyway. Manfred, yes, that video is very good. I will add that the quality of your equipment is crucial. Yeah. I didn't think that was paramount compared to the points that I put in that video. There could be a follow-up video. And as I said at the end, there's probably about 100 other points I'd put in there. Actually, one of the things I was going to put in there, which I only remembered as we came onto the live chat, we were talking about things, was the power to say no to things. That was actually going to be in there, and I'd forgotten to put it in. So maybe there'll be a follow-up video if that video does well. We'll see. At the moment, that video isn't doing very much, but you never know when something can take off here on YouTube. So all it's got to do is find the right audience, and Bob's your uncle. Yeah, quality of equipment can be crucial. Depends what you're doing and who with. I've worked on occasion with people who didn't have the greatest gear, but they learnt all the stuff. They nailed the material, and they were lovely to work with. So the fact they didn't have all the bells and whistles and lots of fancy lights in their rack and the latest pedal boards and all of that, that didn't matter. They got the job done. And I'd always use someone that is nice to be around, easy to work with, and can learn all the material. If I give them a 30-song set, that's the 30 songs I want you to learn. And if they do that, I'm going to keep coming back to them than some guy who's got all the bells and whistles but doesn't learn the stuff or isn't pleasant to be around. Look for a mentor and a teacher from the beginning of your musical journey. I didn't have any. I didn't have any. Obviously, people I looked up to who were famous bass players and musicians, but the only person that was a mentor of any sort of standard would have been the guy that did my first bass lessons, and unfortunately he died about 4 or 5 years ago. He was with me the day I bought my first bass. He did my first lessons. After 3 lessons, he just said, "You've got all the enthusiasm and energy to do this yourself. You don't need me helping you." And that was it. He'd already sort of, the boat was already pushed out to sea, and off I went. And here we are. 38 years since I started playing. Gareth Harrison, it's with it going over shoulders. Yeah. It's as long as I've said before, it's not the body that's pulling. So basically, when the bootsy is in your hands, you can feel the neck is pressing down into the cradle between your palm and your fingers. So that is already wanting to go. It's because the anchoring point is wrong, and the top horn doesn't go out, it goes up. That's the problem. That's what's making the thing spin. So I would need to look. So bear in mind the pictures that strap is on a regular guitar. Those aren't the anchoring points for the bootsy. They're in a totally different place. So again, I'd need to test one. I'm not sure I want to pump out another 30 quid on a strap that doesn't work. We'll see. I'll have a chat. Maybe they'll do me a discount one or a B stock one, and I'll test it. Or if they send me one, say if it doesn't work, just send it back. And great, I'll go with that. Yeah, good. We're up to date on all the comments. So if you're watching the video, watching the live chat, please give the video a thumbs up. It is super important. It's the one thing I will ask you to do. I'm not bothered about whether you hit the subscribe button. That's for other channels to ask for. But I really need likes on videos, comments on videos, sharing videos. Those are the three big things here on Brooks's Bass Corner, on any of the videos, but particularly today's live chat. If you can give it a thumbs up, that'd be absolutely wonderful. Super chat facilities at the bottom, of course, at the bottom of the comments section, bottom of the live chat window. So there's a rectangle with a dollar symbol. If you want to help the channel out, help me out, keep the channel going, you can make a contribution to the channel via the super chat facility. Alternatively, there's Brooks's Bass Corner merch. You'll find links in the description box below, and there's affiliate links there as well if you've got a bass related purchase. Also links for the Bass Centre here in the UK. Hoping to catch up with Barry and Jill and Dave at some point in the next couple of weeks. I've got the Neil Murray basses here. I'm sorry, Neil. You're waiting for me to do a bunch of videos and launch the things, but I've just been up to my ears. But this week and next week, looking good. So I'll sit down and get all that stuff filmed and out to you fine people. So we're going to run probably till about 5 o'clock. It's just gone 3:30 here in the UK, coming to you from London town here in the UK in the middle of February. It's racing past. We get out of January, which takes forever, and get into February and it starts speeding up. But all good. All good. Hope you've all enjoyed the new content. I was having a look last night. Between middle of January and now, I've put out somewhere in the region of 18 or 19 videos. So some are long form, some are shorts, some are the live chats, of course. So I'm upping my game. There's more material going live. Hope you're enjoying it. There'll be some more reviews and demos going up this week. Might do a gig vlog for tonight. The problem with tonight's gig, as I noticed on the last time I did this about 4 weeks ago, is it doesn't make for a particularly great video, because basically I'm travelling in on the tube. I get off the tube and walk for about 100 metres from the tube to the bar through very dark, crowded street. I get into the venue, and that's a small, dark, crowded venue. We literally get in there. Within 20 minutes we're on. We do 3 40-minute sets with 15-minute breaks. And I'm out of there again, and it's then in reverse as it was coming in. So there's not a lot of gear setting up, or there's not a lot of gear chat I can do. I might do one. It'll be a shorter video, that's for sure. We'll see. We'll see. If I remember to take the tripod and the phone holder, maybe I'll do. I think I'd only do it once for that gig, though. I don't think it would be multiple gig vlogs for each time I do it. I didn't do it on the last one. I just thought this isn't going to work. Good. Live stream health is fine. Yep. All good. So, have we got any of the... I know Joe Goose bought one. Any other purchases of the pearl finish JDs from the Bass Brothers store last weekend? They look great. I know Joe... put them in, Mike. I know Joe Goose bought one. He bought the green one. Says it plays magnificently. Sounds totally different to his other one. But his other one has got mahogany inlays through neck. This has got maple and I'm guessing walnut, but I could be wrong. Might be ebony. Manfred, a follow-up video will be good. Okay, going on the 5 pieces of advice. We'll see. We will see. Bill Derbyshire, sorry, but I have to go to Tesco. You've got to get a cake, haven't you, Bill? But you can guess what cake will be going in the trolley. Highly recommend it. Absolutely. I might have to have another piece shortly. It was too good. Tell them I sent you, Bill. Tell them you were watching a live chat and we're broadcasting out to the world. And I'm highly recommending their apple and blackcurrant crumble cake. It's a beautiful thing. So if you want to join me live here on Brooks's Bass Corner live chat 100, we're celebrating the 100th live chat today. You can email me brooks'sbasscorner@gmail.com and I'll send you an invite. You click on the invite and then you come in here live and we can talk bass, we can talk whatever you like as long as you keep it clean, no rudeness. John Cooper, thank you very much. Bless you. John's just made a super chat donation. Thank you, John. Very much appreciated. Fabulous. Right, got to go. Weekend chores. Hoping to come and see you and Uncle Funk in Ware in April. No, it's May. March the 15th, we're in Ware. Congratulations again on the 100 live chats. Might have a drink on me. I will have a drink on you. Thank you very much, John. If you want to come to the gig in Ware, March the 15th, tell me at least a week before, or even in the days running up. You can email me if you want. And I don't need to star that, of course. And I will put you on the guest list. If you're bringing friends and family, let me know and I can sort all that out. I know tickets are really low, but I have access to the guest list, so I can sort that. But let me know if you want to come to that. So it's not April, it's in March, 15th of March. We are in fact, I can tell you, we do have a gig on the 12th of April, which is Decades Dance, which is the new show. And I think that's Bishop Stortford. Or am I wrong? Hang on. April 12th. I was wrong. But it is Bishop Stortford. It's not the venue I thought. We're at Home and Eat, which is a restaurant. Birchhanger Industrial Estate in Bishop Stortford. We're at Home and Eat on the 12th of April, which is a Saturday. I would imagine you're going to be out gigging, John, but if you're not, you can come see the new show if you wish. Samatsu, you got to go get some sleep. Thank you. Thank you for coming on today. It's 2:30 a.m. and I'm gigging tomorrow. Understood. Congrats on the 100. Keep up the great work. Thank you, my man. Thank you for your videos. I really enjoy watching them. John, thank you for that super chat. Bless you. Amazing. Thank you. Wolf Hands. I popped into Bass Brothers showroom this morning. Didn't see the JDs. They've all gone. They went last week. As I was trying something else. Not sure if they're all sold. I was told, and I'd heard a couple of days later that they hadn't all sold when I was originally told last Saturday. I don't think they've got any of them left. I think they've all gone. Your favour's the yellow. I thought yellow was great. I've got a yellow NG2 Dingwall right here. How about that? That'll take your eyes out. Yeah, I like a yellow bass. Fabulous. Thank you, John. Much appreciated. Bless you. Is there anything else I can do to promote that? No, I think I've done it all. Amazing. Thank you. Stunning, in fact. Thank you for that, John. Much appreciated. Thank you. That's caught me by surprise. Thank you. Anyone else wishes to join John in donating to the channel? You know how to do it. Super chat button at the bottom of the live chat window. You too can contribute to the channel. I think I've just extended the legs on the camera. I've suddenly gone out of focus a bit. That's good then. There we go. I think that should do it. That's better. Wowzers. I need to expand that window. There we go. Thank you everyone for popping in today. 100th live chat. Goodness me. Goodness me. I remember the first one. Clear as day. Well, it's on video. You can go back through the live chat playlist. They're all there on the channel. It's yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, it's been a long journey. Well, it'll be 5 years of the channel in late July. Manfred, question. Go for it. Have you tuned a 4-string BEAD? Yep. Just to see how it felt. Yep. I did it with an old Ibanez and it's amazing. Yeah, it's a different thing, isn't it? The only problem is if there's anything in there that needs an octave on the A string, you don't have that extra string. Just depends on the material you're playing, really. But yes, I have done it. Usually with basses that are strung 4505 or even a heavier E, so like on the Billy Sheehan, which has got a 110 on the E string. I don't think it works that great on if you've got 4000s, but it's personal preference, you know. What strings work for you? What gauges work for you? I would say. So we're going to do a load of pedal videos, which have been on the list for ages. I drew the list up last summer. Started, and then we kind of got broadsided by my my mother-in-law's passing. So I'm going to revisit those and start putting that video, review and demo videos of pedals. So there's a big long list. I've got over 50 pedals here and I've done about 4. So got to get stuck into those, and they will be probably, in fact, a couple of them will be on the channel this week. I would hope. Be fabulous. John, have a great week if you haven't already gone. Take care of yourself. Weekend chores, I know them very well. I know them very well. Have a great weekend. Here we go. Jamie Millard's in the house. Good to see you. How you doing? Welcome to 100th live chat. I've got cake here, and I realised last night I was editing a video. We just had a huge curry for Valentine's night. I didn't take a picture for you. Well, you'll be pleased to know there was so much food that we ordered. We got enough literally for 3 days. So when I have a curry later before I go to my gig, I will do a picture. I'll email it to you, all right? Manfred, I also did it to the 5-string haters. They never figure it out. Yeah, there's that. They'll look at you going, how's he doing that? How's he getting those low notes on a 4-string? Trade secrets, isn't it? Fun morning for 100. Yeah, there we go. Who'd have thought? But yeah, we got there. 100 live chats. It's crazy. And actually, if you include all the impromptu ones from when I was out doing gigs and stuff, we're probably looking at about 130, maybe even a bit more. In fact, I could be really dull and count them up for you. It's a big long list. Better do 50 rows a page, Mike, or you'd be here all day. So we've got to go back to 2022. Yeah. Yeah, 2022 would be the first one. That's number 2. So we go up, 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 up. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 38. It's a lot. Three, 4, 6, 2, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 68, 69, 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 80. So we're already 26 there. 27, 28, 29. It's quite a lot. 2, 3. It's 136. Nearly halfway to the next 100. Crazy, crazy. Jamie, I'm a lemming in a shiny metal box so far. I'm sure you are. Joe Goose grabbed the green JD. Yes, he did. He did a video by request. I'll check it out later. He hasn't reared his head yet. He'll be busy. He's a busy boy on a Saturday. But it's a nice shade of green. Looks very nice. Very nice indeed. I'm wondering how long it's going to take for some of those bases to suddenly appear on the second-hand market at vastly inflated prices, claiming that they're one of a kind. When, in theory, you could go to JD and ask them to do a pearl finish. Or buy a JD and take it anywhere and have it resprayed in a pearl finish. It's not a limited one-off, you know. Also has a maple neck. Yeah, that'll be the difference. That will be a difference. So I hadn't gone that closely into them. Manfred, am I listening to new music lately? No, not really. I found Kruang Bin recently, really like it. No, my last newest stuff was a band called Young Gun Silver Fox, who I follow. Love their albums. But I haven't been to see them for 2 years because every time they do a London gig, I'm gigging myself, so I can't do it. Which is a shame because I really like going to their gigs, but they keep doing gigs on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm out working. So at the moment, I can only listen to their albums. They've got a new album coming out. Yeah, do you know what it is? I don't get the time. I don't get the time to search out new stuff. I'm so busy gigging, life, YouTube, family stuff. I just don't have the time. Really, I don't. And if I look back, again, having done that video yesterday, 30 years, I used to have time to put on an album and enjoy it and listen to it and read the notes. And all. I don't get to listen to music for enjoyment. I listen to music as a work thing, and it's not that it takes the joy of that out of it. There just isn't the time to enjoy it. If there comes a point where this channel suddenly the cog turns in my favour and suddenly the videos go ballistic, fingers crossed, please YouTube, and these videos start earning money big time, and I can take my foot off the gas a little bit, then yeah, I can get back to enjoying stuff and not being worried about what time I've got to fit everything in. You can make a new music listening review chat. It wouldn't get any views, that's the problem. You got to find stuff on YouTube that is going to draw people in. I get suggestions for videos all the time. All the time. And I've had people I know, and even bass players I know, go, you should interview me. You should do a video about me on your channel. And that's as much as I'd love to. No one's going to click on it. It's just not going to get any traction, and I can't. And interviews on my channel don't do that great. Even the big name ones haven't racked up huge views. I think my most viewed interview is a Mark King one, and it hasn't even hit 1,000 yet. So interviews generally don't do great things on my channel. They might do on other bass players' channels, but again, I'm under 4,000 subscribers, so it's hard to get momentum on things like interviews. Whereas if I do a gear review, that's described as search-based content. So like if I do a review or a demo or a workshop video of an Ibanez bass, the views go through the roof. The workshop video for the SR300, I'll put a link up, hold on. That didn't do amazing at the start, yet it took off over time. And I think it's had something like 10,000 views. Yeah, just under 10,000 views. Hasn't even been up 2 years. And that's knocking on 10,000. So, you know, you have to do your research before you do videos. That's why I use vidIQ. There's an affiliate link in the description box if you want to check it out. You have to do keyword research. You have to look at videos that are already out there on the topics that you're going to be producing videos about. And you'd be surprised, some of the most desirable basses don't get great viewing numbers. Yet the cheaper end, because people are buying them in greater number, get loads of views. Jamie, you know me. Yes, I do. Indeed. Manfred, you can make a new music. Yeah, we've done that. Yeah, maybe. I should do a bit more investigation into new music, but it's just having the time. It's having the time. And there's so much. There is so much to wade through. There's so much stuff I don't like that I'd be really aggrieved if I spent a couple of hours wading through a load of music I don't want to listen to. Manfred, where can I find a good transcription of level 42 lessons in love? Stuart Clayton, Baseline Publishing is your man. Stuart on the status, where have I put that? Where's my headless status? So on that very base, he did all of his Mark King level 42 transcription books. So send you an email link for what, Jamie? Good transcript. Right, let me see if I can. Right, let's just go to Stuart's page. Probably the best thing. Here we go. That's Baseline Publishing. Stu Clayton used to write for, yes, Stuart with a U, not an EW. He used to write with me at Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player. And he did all the Mark King transcription books, which are in a box over there. A book holder. I can't get to it. I've got tubs of pedals and stuff in my way. But basic Stuart's stuff's the best. Don't listen to anyone else. Stuart is the man for doing level 42 transcriptions. It's all there. Oh, email link. Sorry, Jamie. Hold on. I will get you that. Hold on. Right, let me. That should do it. Get the old earphones on. Here we are. The buzz you can hear is I've got a cable plugged in, but if I don't need to play bass, I'll take that. Take that out. Sorry, guys. Ta-da. In fact, anything in the level 42 back catalogue that you want a transcription of, Stuart's books are the place to go. You may not be able to get the old books. He does like a different kind of thing. There's Jamie in the car. Let's bring you the thing. I'm just talking to Manfred here, so just bear with me. But if you can't get the books that you want, there were 5 volumes. 5 volumes and a physical presence. I can't remember. Anyway, it's 4 or 5. If you can't get them, go on secondhand book places like World of Books. There's loads of them online. Abe Books, I can't remember. Anyway, if you can't find them, you'll be able to get them secondhand on eBay. They sold in relatively large number when they came out. So, good afternoon, Pink Bassman. What's going on?
Hello, Squire.
Yes, you're quite quiet.
I'm just waiting along. Yes, I'm sitting in there. I'm driving through what looks like London. It's pouring rain.
Ah, yes, indeed. I'm just going to see if I can turn your mic volume up. Hold on.
No worries. I can probably turn it up here as well. Oh yeah, see if that works.
There we go.
Yes.
There we are. How's things?
Oh, lovely. Aside from this.
Yes.
So we're cruising up the road, shall we say? And the rain. It's great because as soon as we popped in, it was dumping buckets, and now it's just kind of. We'll take it.
Yeah. Well, you got it whether you like it or not. So.
Well, you know, in Fahrenheit, it's 54 degrees. So.
Oh, that's not too shabby.
No, it's supposed to go down and drop.
We've got about 6 here.
Oh, lovely. Well,
yeah.
If it drops here, then we go to ice.
So. Yeah, it's we've got very cold winds, which is although if you take the wind away, it's perfectly fine. You add the wind, it's like chill factor.
Oh yes,
'tis what it is. 'Tis
True
what
that.
it is.
I couldn't pass up the opportunity to enjoy and celebrate 100 chats.
100 live chats. How about
that? Right. I know. The guy who mentioned doing interviews and whatnot, I kind of had a thought because I run a bunch of gear reviews on my channel, right? And you were speaking about the way that things are done and how many views they get and all that sort of thing. And it's interesting because I've had videos that have been up for 10 years and they're hundreds of thousands of views, but it took them what seemed like an eternity to get any kind of movement. And it's gear reviews are always fun. It just depends kind of your workshop style things. And it just takes a moment because they get shared around and people start asking questions. Still get a lot of questions from people asking. Yeah, for people who purchase a Rickenbacker, they ask me all the questions. I still get all the Rickenbacker questions.
Of course. Well, this is. I found it's almost it's like an opposite weighting. So if a bass is what put an Alembic review up or an Alembic demo up. It does all right, but it doesn't do anything great. I put up a £140 second-hand Ibanez bass, the views go off the chart. Anything that's at the
Right.
lower end does very well. And as I say, it's because more people are buying them, more people are looking at them. Beginners are entry level, looking at whether they should buy that bass or not. And that's what racks up the views. So with stuff like guitars, a lot of it is to do with being search-based content. Whereas
True.
if you're Scott Devine and you're talking about stuff as opposed to doing specific reviews and demos, and you're talking around the subject, that's browse material. That's how they rack up their huge numbers of views, because their history and their view rate makes YouTube more money, so it gets promoted more. Whereas if you're doing stuff that's search based, YouTube knows that people are going to search for that, and
Right.
that's where they give that weighting to. So it just
Yep.
seems weird that something like an Alembic or a Status or a Kabiki, although both Kabiki and Status have their sort of fan groups that will watch all that stuff,
Mhm.
they don't generate the levels of figures that the Ibanez, the Yamaha, your Fender stuff will just skyrocket as soon as you put it up.
Right. Well, then you got to think about who's purchasing what and how much they want to spend. And if you're just
That's
getting
it.
into it, if you're
Hmm.
just getting into it, you could purchase a Squire, you could purchase an Ibanez. Now, I did have a thought because we as we were talking about speaking about that, it would be kind
Yeah.
of like if you were going to do an Ibanez, you could do a mixed review, which means you get to have Dave Swift plus a room full of Ibanez, and you all plunk about on the bass and have a good Bosch, and everybody would probably be into it
Mm.
because
Yeah.
you'd have all the bases and
you try you try getting Dave to commit to a day. That's the
oh,
struggle.
that's
Because
me.
he
That's me.
I've invited him here numerous occasions, but he's always busy. Just can't fit it in.
All right. No, I get. Well, if you're in demand, guess what?
Correct. That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you got
That's
to
it.
your destination?
Oh yes, I'm sitting. I can sit back and put the seat back and throw my hands up and do all this.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, so I can rain all. Now I was thinking because I have if I remember right. I have to go back and look, but there's a video of playing a white 74 4001 Rick,
Hmm.
and it, I think it's 15,000 views, 20,000 views just on that one, maybe more. I think for a bit. Um, so I guess it's just what everybody wants to see,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
you know,
one of the highest viewed videos I've got here on the channel, and it raced out of the door the moment I put it up.
mhm.
It was like, wow, okay. I thought that was suddenly going to take over all the other videos I had, but I think it's about fourth. And that's a BB235 Yamaha.
Oh
It's
yes.
not particularly expensive, but it's like £300-400.
Mm-mm.
Nothing particularly expensive, but because lots of people look at that and the Yamaha lower end range for value for money,
Yes.
both the review and the demo have got pretty significant numbers. And if I haven't done a short on it, I don't think. And if I did one, I'm sure it would just fly straight out the door. And yet
Mm-hmm.
you do something else that's maybe a little more expensive, and it doesn't. They just sit there, and you just have to wait for the searches to present it to people over time.
I have speaking. You mentioned the Yamaha BBs. I picked up a 1987 B450, which is
Mm-hmm.
a bolt-on. It's a PJ. It's nothing special.
Mm-hmm.
I still have to do a video on it, but it's interesting because to your point, the bases. This cost me 300, and it's too bad it's not pink, but it's kind of a burnt sparkle orange, and the neck and head are all painted, so it's all one.
Mm.
And the previous guy put a set of Grover Titan tuners on it and stuffed a little preamp in there, which I'm amazed that wee little cavity could take such a.
Yeah.
But it's all in there, and I can play that thing for 300, and I didn't have to spend four large for a Sadowski. I can get the same tone.
Oh, nice.
That's what I love
Wow.
about this. that's part of the reason why some of the bases that are kind of on the lower end cost wise, you can tweak them and modify them and change out the pickups and out this and that, and you can make it sound like for a fraction of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing against the large, the big money ones. But you can do something similar if you're just a little more resourceful. And people have gotten more resourceful since everything is kind of.
Well, it's not a black art anymore. It's you can watch a video on how to do soldering and changing preamps and pickups and all that. So you don't have to take it to a tech anymore. You can do it yourself. If you've got the patience and you're prepared to put in a bit of elbow grease, you're going to save yourself a load of money doing that sort of thing.
Many liveners before you start, you'll be fine.
Well, yeah, you're soldering your fingers to the workbench. Like, great.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to have a bit of cake for you. Hold on.
All right.
I'll eat it for you.
There you go.
Because I'm a good chap.
Good lad. Good lad.
I'm a good host.
There you go.
There we are. You haven't seen the cake, have you?
I have not, no.
You'll like it.
Cake is always lovely.
Like it, well, it's kind of, yeah, there's a bit of that. There's pink on my plate. So it's an apple and blackcurrant crumble cake.
Ooh, lovely.
Yeah, it is.
Very nice.
In front of the camera is good, Mike.
Very nice.
Yeah. It's working.
Indeed.
Here we are.
Oh, yeah. Chomp away. We'll make more.
I will. I'll eat it on your behalf.
There you go. That's one for me.
Taking one for the channel.
There you go. Taking it. Well done, lad.
Well done, that man.
Oh, yeah.
So what gigs have you got this weekend?
So this weekend I've got a gig. I've got to play tomorrow. It's basically all day. So it's going to be, it's hour on, 30 off, hour on, 30 off, and then through 3, and then have a couple hours to relax, and then go back and do an evening one.
Okay.
I haven't decided what I'm going to use. It's really funny when I do these type of things. I usually use either the Attitude bass or I throw in the BB 450. I think tomorrow I'm going to bust out the Roadie one with the stripes, and I think we're going to go for it.
Is this covers stuff?
This is actually kind of an R&B kind of thing.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I think the single pickup will just fit perfectly.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could go with the Attitude and just turn the humbucker off.
Well, that's the other thing I thought about as well, but I've used the Attitude. I use the Attitude for just about everything. Somewhere along the way here, I'm gonna send you a song or two to listen to. We have an album coming here, and something fast to listen to.
All right.
You can be going
music.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never done that in my life.
Oh, I know this will be a first. But, well, hey, if you can wear feathers and boas, you can do that. So.
I can do all sorts, me.
There you go, man.
I'm nothing if not multifunctional.
Oh, you know what? That's the old story about jack of all trades. You can make everything work in some capacity.
Of course.
Yes, right.
We're bass players. That's what we do.
That's right. The bass player motto is "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken."
And never a truer word spoken.
Indeed. So yeah. So no, okay. I've got things coming up. I just booked one for March. Actually the day before my birthday, which ought to be entertaining because we're opening up for band. And that'll be local. And I may try to set up something where we can live stream it just for fun. So that's coming in. So that's the latest and greatest on the book thus far.
When is that?
March 25th.
March 25th. Okay.
Yep. The day before we flip for another year of adventure and excitement. So,
trying to think, when's the my nearest live chat to that? Hold on. 22nd.
Yep, couple days.
Yeah, a couple days before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a rehearsal day after.
Right.
Very good. Yeah.
Could be a good one. We're gonna have. We're breaking in a new drummer. He's a new guy.
Okay.
So,
that's always a an eye-opening experience.
Well, we'll take him to task. We're going to do some rehearsals to make sure that we have everything the way it's supposed to go, so that way it can just be a seamless flow. And if something happens, we just laugh and keep going.
Mm-hmm. Make sure he notes who the master is.
Right, right. Don't make me pulling out the Spinal Tap record. Smell the glove.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Shrimpton.
Indeed. He'll just spontaneously combust.
That's right.
Yes.
All the best drummers do.
That's right.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Indeed.
Excellent. Are you playing in the morning?
Yes. I'll be kicking.
Busy old weekend.
Yeah, so my whole day tomorrow is nothing but flying fingers.
That's what you call it.
That's what I call it. Well, because all I do is just take the little pedal board and off we go.
Yeah.
So,
I've got a small one. Small one tonight? Yes, small one tonight. I've got a request show in the centre of London, so
cool.
I was tempted almost not to even bother take the pedal board, just take the tuner and the Digitech drop, just for not having to take another case. But I've got something with that Source Audio Mercury flanger. I don't know if you've seen the video from. Have you seen the gig vlog from last weekend's shows?
I did, yeah. Yep.
With the solo on it, just sounds great. And I had a couple of people watch the short of that, and they were, Christ, your bass sound. And I felt like saying, yeah, that's just recorded on my phone, close to where the amp is. That's not actually what they're hearing out the front.
Right.
And it sounded just really good. I was like, thank God, that does sound really good. I was quite pleased with that. Because sometimes when you're recording that close to your cab, it just becomes a swamp of noise. There's nothing really distinguishable. But it came out pretty good. I thought, yeah, I can go with that.
Well, I posted that thing up. I thought of you when I posted that commentary about the Sly and the Family Stone biopic.
How was that?
You need to see it. It's actually really informative, and they show Sly at the end because he's, I think, 82 years old now, getting on a bit. But his children are with different people, and they're all kind of come together, and they say, we're taking care of our father, etc. And it's all lovely. But they go through all this stuff, and they go through all the fun and games, and Larry Graham speaks a bunch on there.
Good.
And you kind of see out comes the thumb, and
quite right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of footage it's great stuff. And I mean, you can kind of, is
it one program or is it a series?
No, it's just one program.
Oh, okay.
It's basically a 2-hour kind of thing where you start to finish. And I didn't know that Sly was a DJ on the radio in Texas before he started.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that. I mean, I've listened to the records for years, but I didn't know. And between that and kind of his background and just how he was such a natural at grabbing instruments and making sounds, I love that. That's a rare treat that you don't get to see very often, when someone can just pick something up and boom, it's happening.
Oh, he was a bit like the forerunner to Prince, really.
Literally.
And I think that's kind of maybe what pulled Larry Graham and Prince together, was because Larry Graham had seen all that first time round.
Sure.
And you're dealing with, don't like using the term really, but musical geniuses. It's they're one-offs. I mean, I've known plenty of people who can play multi-instruments, but there's a certain, when you're in the presence of people like that, and it's like a totally different chemistry. It's literally like the instruments are just an extension of them.
It doesn't
matter, you could give them a flugelhorn and they'd be able to play whatever's going on in their head on that. You or I pick a flugelhorn up, we're going to sound like a fart, like an elephant farting in a bath. But,
love it.
Yeah, it's a fair analogy, I'd say.
I agree.
But yeah, you give a flugelhorn to the likes of Prince or Sly Stone in his prime, and they're going to come up with something. It's just that level of person, their musical spirit.
Yeah, it's a special gift because not everybody has it. It's kind of like those guys
Very true.
play, they see colors.
Oh,
Now,
yes.
there's I know a few folks who are that way. They picture something as red, and when it comes out, you could see that it's red.
Yeah.
Or
Mr. Smith had that.
yeah,
Yes.
he
And I
did.
know Lee Pomeroy has it as well.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a different kind of understanding that is not explainable. You can't just say that it's this because there's no real way to explain it.
Mm.
You either see it or you
Yeah.
don't. You know,
No, exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So what note is pink?
I've always wondered that, but I
Yeah.
can tell you that
That'd be an H sharp.
yeah, an H, yeah, or maybe an M flat. I don't know.
Yeah. One of those.
Right. I don't know. I would have to say, for me, if I was going to seriously answer that question, I'd say I'd have to pick one of the bases up and hit it and see where it resonates.
Yes.
They're all different.
Yes. Quite.
They're all different. So
Quite.
it could be the connect all, color. I don't know.
I hear you.
Back in the
I
days,
hear you.
in the days of kings, purple and pink were colors of royalty. So I didn't know that either. I
Mm.
found, and it was kind of interesting because we're talking in ancient times. Purple and pink were considered the colors of kings,
Mm.
not queens, but
Yes.
kings.
Regal. Regal.
Yeah, right. Regal, not Freddie Mercury. Right, got it.
That's
So yeah,
it. Purple
different,
and gold.
you know. So yeah, gold came along as well, but it was fascinating to see that. But it's like I never knew it. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it, when I
So we didn't clarify. I saw a message online. Have you now purchased the base that you were trying to purchase from a UK seller that is going direct to JD?
so he told me again he's not in a lot of rush. So we're just taking our time because I'm trying to work with Toby on a color scheme,
Right.
and it's hilarious because I made a comment on the JD page on the base page, and because somebody had posted the pic of Base Brothers UK where they had all the pearls lined up, and I
Yep.
said cool to airbrush where it goes in stripe, and you could do swirly bits with it and all that kind of thing. And Toby's brother Jake chimed in and he said, "You trying to make Toby go nuts, are you?" No, time.
Maybe.
Okay, yeah, one can't tell, but not this time. But we're still working with it. The guy's in no rush, and neither am I, because
Okay. Well, that's
I want
fair enough.
I want to see the guys over there kind of get they remind me periodically that they're clearing out the backlog. And with John, when John was with us, his illness kind of caused them a great holding back because
Mm.
they took care of him. So sometimes they weren't able to get as many of them done as they wanted to. So the backlog is large.
I
And
saw there was a guy who ordered a base in early 2021, and he's still waiting. So
yeah, but what they've told me, what Mike's told me, Mike Diggins has kind of shared with me that they're just working through systematically. And there have been a number of folks over time who had orders who just didn't want to wait any longer, and
mm.
so they canceled them. So like the grouping of Series threes that Base Brothers got by their declaration as well was to lay claim to a bunch of those that had been ordered but not completed, and so they just went through and said paint all the pearls and we'll take them all. So
Mm.
that's where that lovely row of color came from.
Yeah.
So Joe Geezer over there got himself the green one.
Yes, he did.
He did, and I've got a
And
guy
he's
that I
kept two other JD orders that he already placed. As even if I don't want them, they won't be difficult to shift. But to be honest, I'll probably want both of them.
I believe. I don't know
You'll
where
have four.
right. I don't know where the one went. Of course, as soon as that picture was posted, I got all the questions. Did you get the pink one? No.
Mm.
Somebody else has got to get it besides me. I can't have all the pink.
No, correct.
But somebody else grabbed it, and of course the blue one went quickly. And I've got a guy that I know in Indiana on this side of the pond who is contemplating the white one, the white pearl.
I thought they'd all sold.
I thought that
Have they?
too, maybe he said something about he was going to exchange a Stingray for it, and I don't know if he did it or not. I don't know if he completed. The white one may reappear. I don't know. But those guys are lovely chaps. They have even though they've had all the challenges with John and his time, they have tried to do what they could to get the stuff moving and keep guitars rolling and whatnot. So I have to give them a hat off for that one. Cheers. And the quality that they're still turning out is excellent. I can say that.
I bet 10 years ago they couldn't have foreseen or imagined this upturn in their schedule fortunes.
Right.
It's amazing what one person can do, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I was sometime back.
Even
I was
second time round.
Indeed. I was talking with Mike Diggins a while back, and I told him, I said, well, part of my goal is to make sure your retirement plan is in effect. So, because I'm tickled to death that the King has decided to play them these last couple tours because everybody was asking, because he said something about that. He said, when to use our friend Nick's terms, when his original one went in for a valet to JD, Toby kind of shared with me later that people had been asking him a lot to bring those back out, which is why he's got the two other ones. So the original one can hang at home in the studio and not have to be worked over. But the ones that he's got now, they did identical to that one, literally right down to the pickups and the nuts and bolts. So he can still get the same tone, but he doesn't have to carry the original one around. He can use these and still get that great sound. So
yeah, he still takes it out on occasion.
There's something about the original one that kind of makes you think about it a bit more. That's the one that started everything in theory, because it wasn't the first one made, but it was the first one that everybody looked at and went, ooh. And the ooh factor kind of, I chased around to look for that one. You've probably seen it. It was called Gemini. It's the double neck with the 4 and the 8 string.
Yes.
There's a guy over there who's got it, who uses it still. And that thing weighs a good bit. There's a couple stones on that. That one's a couple stones heavy.
Yeah, just a bit.
Oh yeah.
But if it's being used, great. Nothing grinds my gears more than a guitar in a case that's not being used. So,
well, that's most vintage Fenders because they've got a shrine. Oh, mighty jazz bass. Oh, pick it off the wall, run out inside, and let's go.
That's it. Play.
That's why I don't.
It was designed to be played.
Exactly. That's why I don't purchase it anymore. I pass. And I've got a couple sitting here. They don't go out. The vintage ones don't go out because really, if something does happen to it, I can't replace it.
No, well, I've got a few things here, but to be honest, they're all here in the rack, and if I want to use them, they're going out. So
yeah, mine end up being.
I worry about the Kabikis, but it's like, what are you going to do? I'm not passing them on to. I've got no kids to pass them on to, so.
Well, what you're saying is your JD is in your will to me. Is that what you're saying?
What, that old girl? Yeah.
I say
that's here probably for about another 20 years, and then that'll move on.
Well, you got it. I know you've got it sitting back there somewhere. So
it is, yeah, just in the rack over there.
I can't see it with the. I got Joe Geezer's comment up there, so I can't see it. So.
There you go. Hold on.
Yep.
Let me move that. You still won't be able to see. I'll have to move the camera.
That is all right.
I think. Let's see if I take that down. There you go. Go that way.
Oh, there he is. Yep. There's the old girl. Yep, right there on the end of underneath the white one.
There you go.
Good lad.
It's there.
That's all good. Well,
yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens on that front. Joe was posting there that he's left a message on their answer phone asking for his green order to be now changed to pearl pink. There's a world famous JD answer phone machine, never gets listened to.
Easiest for Joe, since I can't see the chat, for Joe, if you just send an email to Andy, which is info@JD, whatever the message is, Andy usually responds to those, and sometimes Toby does them as well. So if you ask for you ask for a color shift in email, that'll probably be acknowledged quicker.
Got it.
And
Joe's asking me, I know we talked about this last time, Mike, but would you really gig those Alembics? Yes, I do. All of them,
absolutely.
all three of them. The Persuader's been out on numerous gigs since Christmas. The Mark King one used to come out on quite a few gigs when I was doing bigger. If I know a stage is big and I'm going to have some space, then I'll take it. If it suits the band or project I'm playing in. If I don't know what the venue's going to be like, I just won't take it because I can't risk being cramped. Certainly not with Uncle Funk if there's 9 of us on stage. If I've got the horns too close to me, I'm not going to take the Alembics. It's going to get battered. Same with the 20th anniversary. But if I know the stage is reasonably sized, so if I know I'm going to do a covers band or some sort of band and I'm playing at Butlins, I know the stage is going to be huge and it sounds magnificent through their monitors and their rig. Yeah, I'll take them out. I use the Mark King Alembic for the Uncle Funk theatre show that we recorded while we were in lockdown. So you can see that if you go to the Uncle Funk YouTube page, look for any of the videos from about 2020, 2021. We did a whole show that we sold tickets for during that Christmas. So it was a bit like a pantomime. He's behind you. Yeah. And I used that. I used that for the recording and it was great. So yeah, I'd have no problem taking my Alembics out. No, not at all. They come out. They're not going anywhere else. And if I take them on a gig, they're usually within my line of sight at all times. So, you know, they're there next to me when we're sound checking. I then bag them up, bring them to the changing room, take them back to the stage when it's time to go on. So, yeah, I have no problem. I can't be precious about things like that. I bought them to play them. I didn't have them for years. There's no point me buying them and then they're sitting there. Okay, they've nearly trebled in price, but so be it. But I love that tone. I'm not going to get that tone out of anything else. So
traveling musician,
I want that tone, got to use it. Say again?
Traveling musician insurance helps that too. If something does happen, you can insure it damage while you're traveling.
That's right.
But
I wouldn't take them overseas. I wouldn't do that because the necks would move a bit and what have you.
Right.
But I'll use them happily here in the UK if I know in advance where I'm playing and what the stage is. So, yeah. Joe, can you tell Jamie that he placed his order for the GA24 on the 24th of November 2021? That's Freddie Mercury's anniversary.
Noted.
So that's coming up 3.5 years.
Yep. Reach out through the email and keep trying the phone. One of the two ways will get you probably because
Joe says he wonders how many Alembics there are floating around with repaired and snapped headstocks. Probably the same number as repaired and snapped Gibson headstocks on a Les Paul or an SG.
Yep. Or
probably
Aces.
Probably. Although I have to say, when I compare the Mark King model to the anniversary, the actual bulkiness around the nut is more. There's more material there. And I'm not sure. I mean, you need to give that thing a serious wallop to break those headstocks. But then you could say it about any angled back headstock. Plenty of manufacturers went for it in the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
You know, it's not a rarity. I mean, my GBs are as well to a certain degree.
Yep.
So
the first Rhodey JD that I had purchased, it had a headstock split. It literally come in half because somebody dropped it and it fell forward onto the tuners and it separated. But I'll tell you, when they repaired it, they repaired it over here somewhere, and that thing was rock solid. And it was just your basic tobacco sunburst Rhodey 2A, which is the routine.
Yeah,
but that's what did it.
If you get a good repair guy and they know their stuff, they can usually fix most things. I've seen some things that I thought that's no way that's ever getting repaired, but they shock you sometimes.
Yes, I've got a really good one for you. I purchased way back when you're going to laugh. I'm going to tell you the history. I purchased a Warwick thumb and it was pink. And if you
Not the Cass Lewis one.
the Cass Lewis one. That was the one I had. And a guy from UK, I got it from a guy in the UK, and he had this very large, like wooden case for it, and it had like it was carpeted like a cheap speaker, and he wrapped it up in an Arctic sleeping bag,
Right.
stuffed it in the case, threw it in a box, and off we went. So I opened up the box, the case, the sleeping bag, and the headstock was half broken. And
Oh.
so I had to have it repaired and the paint matched, which was quite a feat. Because that how do you do that? That was a 1987, 88 thumb. I'd spoken with Cass Lewis about that. Because the first question he asked me was, "So you have the pink baby now?" He says, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's made the rounds because I'm not a Warwick guy. I can't. They feel dead to me in my.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave it a shot. But of course, what better way to go than give it a shot with something pink?
Of
So
course.
yeah, so but it was the fact that the headstock that was a Wenge neck, and it was an adventure getting it repaired. Let me just say.
Mm.
The point in mentioning is between those and the Alembics, and then some of the others where they have a strange neck joint. To your comment, all the ones that did the angle, where the angle kind of does this right in here, off it goes. So I know everybody tried it, but good grief.
I've heard so many things on Warwick repairs and the snapping truss rods, and I
Yes.
mean, they just seem. I don't know what they were doing in those early years. I mean, a lot of people say the earlier ones are the better ones,
Hmm.
yet all I've ever seen is talk of wood splits, truss rod repairs, truss rod snapping,
Yep.
electronics completely frying, and it's like, what the hell were they doing? But there's also the thing. Here we are, nearly 40 years on, so it's not a surprise that components go wrong. But you would expect wood not necessarily to have given up the ghost quite as frequently. So, Lord knows what they were doing at that time. It caused
Yeah.
so many issues.
Right. Well, some of the truss rods in those things were dodgy because they were actually made of iron. It was a strange. It was
Mm.
a strange situation because everybody kind of uses the Gibson style rod for the most part with the singular brass nut up at the top, and you just crank on it. And those are good, but I don't know why they decided to try a different metal. I'm assuming because the necks were so thin at that point that they thought it would give better stability, but
Hmm.
all it did was make more of them snap. So,
Yeah.
and then they bought them out.
There is that. Yeah. I mean, actually, one of the best I ever played belonged to a band called Five Star that used to be very big here in the UK.
Hmm.
And their whole band, including the musicians, all their touring gear, all their recording gear, the lot had to be sold off in 19. Get the year right. It was either 1990 or 1991. And
Hmm.
it was in Rock Bottom in Croydon. They
Hmm.
literally had floor to ceiling all this PA gear, mixing desks, basses, guitars, amps, keyboards, processors, rack mount gear, just like ton. And I remember saying to a guy in the shop, "What the hell's going on there?" He said, "Oh, that used to belong to Five Star. They've had to liquidate their whole band." Taxman.
Oh, right, right,
And they
right.
hadn't had a hit for like 3 or 4 years, but they were still spending as though they were earning. And there was a Warwick Streamer
Hmm.
Stage 1 with the Seymour Duncan EQ pickups. I've got a set
Oh, with
on
3 switches.
my. Yeah, that one had 3 switches. The ones I've got two.
Okay.
I've never heard that they really make all that much difference. I read a little thing online which was a description of what the buttons do. It's so vague. I mean, you'd need hearing like a bat to hear any difference. I can't hear any difference. I don't know. I might as well have not bought them because I've never heard any improvement or. And anyway, they had this Streamer Stage 1 with these pickups, but it had Bartolini circuit in.
Oh yeah.
And it was immense. And I remember on the day I'd bought a Kubicki. So it must have been 91. I'd bought the Kubicki about 2 months earlier. And I thought, God, I'd love that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't have, I think they wanted 900 quid for it. I didn't have 900 quid to put my hands on.
Right.
Someone else is going to have a really great bass. Lord knows, I've never seen it pop up online. I've never seen it. For all I know, it could have gone into meltdown for it. But it was amazing. Amazing. One of those basses where you go in a shop, you pick it up and go, oh, wow. Oh. It's one of those. It's just like amazing. And if you don't buy it at the time, someone else is going to have it. So,
right.
Basses that could have been.
You know, I have one of them. Well, and when I think about it now, it's really annoying. It's aggravating or angering almost. I had the opportunity to purchase a Rick double neck for $850.
Oh,
it was black. Bass up top and the 12 string or 6 string, I forget which, on the bottom. And that thing right now, $10,000.
There you go.
I didn't have $850.
What happens?
Didn't have $850 in my pocket. I had nothing I could swap for it.
Well, I remember there was a white wall double neck that went through the bass center in the 1990s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I haven't seen that turn up I haven't seen it anywhere for a very long time.
Right.
I mean, you're going to be looking at 15 to 20 grand for that.
Easily.
And that's not what it sold for. I think it sold for something like that, 2.5.
Yeah, back in the
2.5 in an aluminium flight case. So someone's sitting on it somewhere.
Oh, it's probably in the closet, under the bed, in the shed, something. When you think about how many actual instruments all of these companies turn out over the years, you really kind of have to. I always kind of wonder. It's like, where did all these things go?
Well, I think about this probably a couple of times a year. It's like all these manufacturers bringing out new basses. What happened to all the old ones? Where have they all gone?
Right.
So there's either mega stashes somewhere, but it's like all those things that you saw in magazines 20, 30, 40 years ago. Where did they go?
Yeah.
I don't see many people going around smashing up guitars and all that sort of thing. So where has all this stuff gone? What happened to all the Washburns? What happened to all the Yamahas? And these are companies that are churning stuff out. Where is it all gone? I don't know.
Right. That's the same question, because every so often somebody comes up with something that surprises me. And I'm like, where was this thing all these years? It was kind of like, well,
stories they could tell.
Well, yeah, right. Because I mean, think about it. McCartney's one, the bass that was just returned not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was taken away and put in the attic somewhere, and then somebody found it and got all excited, and Sir Paul gave him a bit of dust, and off we go. How about that?
Well, I think a lot of things like that is people don't know the provenance of what they've got. So until someone goes searching, those sort of doors don't open. So someone says, oh, here's a bass, and it passes to someone, and then they pass it down to someone else. And the provenance and history gets lost over time.
Right.
Which is lesson to you all. Make a note of your serial numbers.
I have a book.
Mm-hmm.
I have a book.
That.
Every number. I've got photos of most of them, but I've got a book with all the numbers because folks come to me because so let me say this like this. This is not a bragging comment or something that goes, oh, I've had 175 Rickenbackers over the years since the time
poor man. That's a lot of setting up.
So I have a list. I kept a list of all the ones, and asked me if they were looking for their old bass, and did I ever happen to have it? Do I know where it went? Could I look at my list? And so I do that occasionally. I don't find their stuff, but I mean, you think about how many thousands of them there are. what are the odds that you come across, you know, something that you had or something you've had that somebody was looking for previously.
Sure.
So, but I actually know where one of I've known for a bit, but I'm just trying to decide how do I go about retrieving it, because it's not something I've had, and I'm going to be very serious for a moment. It was something Sir Nick had for a while that went on, and a couple of different guys have had it, and it went through a couple of changes, but it's there, and if the guy would be interested in doing some discussion with the Nutty Pink guy, I'm wild just to acquire this one certain little piece of wood that I missed. And it's not that I've owned it before, but it's something super special.
Mm.
So more on that later.
We'll see how that story develops.
Right, because that means I have to probably come across the pond, have a pint and a curry, and come back with a little bit that I'm looking, you know. So, which I don't mind doing, mind you. It's just work details. If the bloke is ready to go, here you go, mate.
Is he keeping hold of it because he wants to keep hold of it, or is he keeping hold of it because he wants to see the money go up?
Well, that's a fair question, and I haven't really spoken with him about it. I just know where it is.
Okay.
And I know somebody who knows because he was the last one who had it before he shipped it to this guy. So I'm just kind of thinking through, okay, how do we want to approach this? Because it's a really unique, let me say it like this. It's a unique bit of kit. So it's not something you're going to see every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, top dollar then.
Well, I don't know about that. Probably more like something that I have that's top dollar that you can't get anywhere else either.
Oh, right. Okay. Swapsies.
Yeah, right. You know, a little exchange here and there, you know. Have a pint, do a swap, you know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Curry involved, probably.
Indeed.
Highly likely. Yeah.
Oh, always, always.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, there's so much. I mean, yeah. Sorry, we've traversed a multi-level conversation there. There was a couple of Warwicks that I remember. I saw a 5-string thumb in Gig Sounds near Streatham, and that would have been at the tail end of 1990. So they were just coming into their own. They were the bass at that time, and that thing was priced at, I think it was $895, and I didn't have the money for it at the time. I was still saving to get my dream bass, as it was in 1991.
Oh yeah,
and that. I mean, I wasn't a 5-string player then. I'm not a 5-string player now, but I mean, that thing was just great. And it's back when Warwick thumbs were like seriously good. And that was one that I thought, God, if only I just had a credit card, I could just buy it. But it's another one that passed me by. It's the way it is. You can't have them all.
No. I had a 1962 jazz bass that I had. That was quite the bit. And it was given to me actually when I was 18.
Oh.
And I was, shall we say, dumb enough to exchange it for something that I didn't think mattered. But all of a sudden, as soon as I did that, the prices of the old jazz basses went nuts. Yeah. It was kind of like that with the wall bass. I had 6 wall basses, and I picked them up for $895 or $700.
Been there. Been there. Turned away one at $950 because I didn't want to pay $950.
Right, and now you can't get one for $950. It's more like $9,500.
This was pristine 5-string Mark II.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've lost your camera. He's gone. Pink Bass Man has gone. Maybe his phone's died. See if he comes back. I'll bring his screen off. Oh,
there we go.
You're there. There we are. You dropped off.
I'm going to put this on pause for a minute, so I'll still hear you, but I'm going to jump in the rain and step into the studio So that way,
That's all right. I'll turn your camera off.
okay. And I'll mute the mic so
Yeah.
we.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I think no. You need to turn the camera off at your end, but we'll keep the audio going.
Yeah, give me a moment. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. It's
Rock
gonna
and
get
roll.
loud and rainy. It's gonna get loud and rainy here for a moment, so don't be
That's all
alarmed.
right.
Like I said,
I'm used to loud and rainy.
I'm in London. I'm
Yeah,
in
it might as well
London.
be.
All right. So
I
let me
will
get.
be later. Ah, here we go. Joe has said, does Jamie have any seller's remorse from selling any of his JDs through the years?
Oh, don't get me
There
started
you
on
go.
that. Yeah, I can answer that one. Let me. I'm in the studio. Let me pop in here real quick. But yes, to answer Joe's question, ironically, I've had 20 of them. I looked because that was. I don't know. I mean, and everybody who thinks that you run around and you have a whole bunch of DOS you can throw at things, it's not true. Usually, I shift one to get one,
You
and
mean you haven't?
that's usually how it is, right?
I said, you mean you haven't?
Well, it's one of those things. Okay,
Here
so
we go.
now
He's
we're in a
indoors
dry
now,
spot.
folks.
Now we're indoors. Now, yeah, I can shake off the rain. But yes, so Joe's question: what did I regret getting rid of? Okay, so there's two of them actually that I had that John Diggins had made custom. One was the Series 2 that was walnut, and it had this special first edition fiber optic LEDs in the side dots on the neck. Um, the neck was very touchy. If
Mm-hmm.
it had all the appointments. So it had the Saturn inlays, it had the binding on the headstock, binding on the neck, and then all of the little dots on the sides would light up LED. And it had this funk groove, so it was the Series 2. It was an amazing bass, but the trouble I had with it is that the neck was a bit dodgy because it would what's the word? How do I say this? It would move a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and made
Temperamental.
pro. It was yeah, good word. It was temperamental, and that temperamental meant that I couldn't take it out too many places because it was because I'd have to move it and I'd have to mess with it and all that.
Yeah.
Um, so I gave that one up, and I probably shouldn't have because it was one that did not have a serial number. It was done off the book, so it was probably early '80s. But it was truly an amazing instrument. But it had all the sounds you ever wanted. But the trouble is I didn't want to have to leave the cover off the truss rod so I could go
Mm-hmm.
and twist and play and all that whatnot. So that's one of them. I'm trying to think. Uh, I think that's the one probably because I've had some of the strange ones that people have done things with. There was one that was nicknamed Amber, and it was a GA24 model that the guy
Is
who
that the
had it,
quilted maple top one? Yeah.
yeah, and it was in the fire. That one was in the shot fire, and so it ended up with a neck, and it had the Calibas headstock
That's
when it
right.
came back. And I mean, it was really an amazing instrument, but again, it was kind of unique, and it went around about here a few spots, few players, and nobody could get a grip on it. Well, I got it. I used it for session work. It was amazing. I don't know where it is now, or
Mm.
where that one went. Somebody swapped it into the low end bass shop, and from there it grew wings. And
Mm-hmm.
it so only other one I can think of, and this is different. I had one that Sir Nick swapped me. He'd given it to me. So on that kind of picture collage that I posted on the socials, there was one. It was a single pickup. It was a red cherry sunburst. That was actually the one that was used in the Bass Central adverts back in the day.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And so Nick and I had worked out a deal, and I had a bass together for him because at the time I was doing Bluesman vintage stuff, and so I had it put together, and I took it with me. I was playing in Ireland, And so Nick hopped the ferry and brought me the JD, and I gave him the Fiesta
There you
Red
go.
EJ. And, we got on a bit and did our thing like we always did. And that one, the only trouble with it was the truss rod was maxed out.
Ah.
And so I had a guy locally swap the truss rod for a newer version, which didn't fit under the truss rod cover, so it stuck out. And I had him put graphite bars in the neck, and since he had it apart, and it was never the same.
Yeah, there's the dangers. You think, oh well, we'll do that, and we'll do that, and we'll do that, and then everything will be fine. And
Right,
very rarely it happens that way. When things are remedially done, if they're not done when they're built, it's like the woods fighting against the intruders.
right, and that's
Like
the
it
way it goes.
can't deal with stuff being added or taken away. It's when it leaves the factory, that's it. What's Joe saying here? Oh no, sorry, we're at the. Sorry, I thought there was a new message there. Yeah, I've never really had that much stuff. The only things I've really had issues with was the Kabiki neck when it wasn't sealed, and that was Fender's fault. So it left the factory like that. And once it went back to Phil Kabiki and he resealed that neck, it's been fine. The other thing was my JD, and I've explained this one before. Great to get it for 275 quid, but fingerboard was splitting. Neck was like a banana. Guy had ripped out the EQ and the circuit, put some homemade cobblers in there. So it wasn't really much of a JD anymore. And I
Right.
soldiered on with it for about 4 years.
Mhm.
And in the end, it's like, nah, this is going. And it was fine. It didn't fit in with the stuff I was doing. It didn't play great. I spent more time adjusting the neck and the truss rod. And I was always worried about those ebony splits. And you could actually see the timber on the back of the neck through the lacquer. There were splits starting to form. And it was like, there's a problem with this. Time to get rid. Otherwise, it's going to be me that's footing the bill, and I'm not that attached to it. So,
Right. Well, I have not had any of them split or go crazy, which is good because
this was an 86, and the way it was explained to me at the time was there was a period in the 80s, around about 86, 87, 88, where they just simply couldn't keep up with market demand, and they took some people onto the team to do the building, and they probably weren't the caliber they needed to be, but also some of the timber was literally coming in and going straight back out on a newly made guitar, so it wasn't seasoning properly. And this obviously was one of those. It was a lemon. You weren't going to. It didn't matter what you did. You weren't going to fix the neck issues, which is always going to be a bit of an issue on a through neck. So
no, I understand that as well. Uh,
it cost me 275. I sold it for 1,000. So okay, I paid 160 quid for an EMG circuit just to get the thing up and running. Some guy somewhere has probably got it. So Series 2. So
it's
and it
probably
weighed a ton. Oh, it weighed a ton.
somebody's banging along on it. I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Or they'll have ripped the EMG out, put that in something else, and probably got hold of JD to put a proper circuit in. But back in '98, I didn't have internet access. I rang them several times, couldn't get hold of anyone, and in the end, you just think, I just can't be asked. And I was spending so much time adjusting it. I used to take it to Level 42 tribute band rehearsals, and I'd get it perfectly set up at home. I'd get in there, start playing, and within 2 songs, truss rod wrench had to come out, and it just exasperates you in the end. It's like, it doesn't matter what I do, this is not going to work. So, and I had Mark's Stingray, which you set the neck and it never moved. So it was like, well, this is a lot less grief. Joe Goose is asking, what does Jamie think of status bases?
I've had two of them. Had the
Is that
little.
it?
That's it.
Really?
Yeah. Right. So
Okay.
I had the Streamline little that wee little thing that
5.
looked like
Yep.
paddle on the Thames,
Mm-hmm.
and then was a Series 1, I think.
Oh, cripes.
It was one of the original with the GMP, was it, pickups?
GMT. Yep.
Thank you. Um, yeah, and I mean, those are great fun. I just couldn't, the neck felt cold to me.
I've heard this before, and I can't agree with that. I've played statuses for, God, I never thought I'd say that. 23 years.
Yeah.
I don't get that cold. I had one guy say to me that the 5-string status neck on my 5-string Stingray would have made it felt like as cold as a gravestone. I was like, what are you talking about? Just play the bloody thing. What's no, I don't get that. I don't know where people get that sense of that. It's no, it doesn't feel any different to playing a wooden neck if I'm from my perception, because so often many of my bases have got gloss coats on anyway.
Yeah.
So it's lacquer's all that you're feeling. You're not feeling graphite bare.
Right.
But I find that quite strange. I thought you would have had a few more, actually. I thought you might have had a few more of the top of the range bells and whistles affairs, but clearly not.
You know, I tried a king base one time, and on me it
Yeah,
looks like a toy.
it's a rich man's toy.
Well, and
There'll
I
be loads of people I'll be getting slaughtered for in the sense.
could,
I've said that all along. I played one when they just came out, and I was like, nah, I much prefer my empathy by a long chalk.
yeah. Now I did have one of those. I'm trying to think what it was called. You can help me here if you don't. It was one that they big triple coil pickup and had a wooden neck. Was it the Groove
Groove,
base?
groove bait. That was their version of a Stingray.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Very odd shaped headstock.
Indeed, indeed. I had one of those for a bit. It was okay, but it there's something about it. I had that, and then I had one of those Washburn Status clones with
Mm,
the and the shape, but the neck was wood, and I didn't get along with it either. So
yeah, no,
I
we've
just
discussed those
right. So I
before.
mean, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
think you'd love. I think you'd love. Well, I mean, the empathy is the for me is that perfect melding of the graphite neck with all the wood loveliness and all of
yeah,
that. But they have, you see, people get put off by them because for me, there's two distinct halves to that story. You've got the first ones that came out,
hmm
which are very Mark King, high fidelity, high treble, maximum twanginess.
hmm
And then you've got from about 95, 96 onwards till they were discontinued at the end of around about 2000, which is when the Series 2 Classics came back and then the King Bass came out.
hmm
Was that second period, the mid-range was far more pronounced by a long chalk, because what they were having to address was the fact that they'd seen a dip in their popularity due to Britpop. And everyone wanted precisions, jazzes, Rickenbackers, Gibsons. They didn't want bass exotica with active circuits and all that sort of thing.
right.
And Rob had to address this, because otherwise, how were they going to carry on? They were going to get lumped into you're just 80s bass exotica, no one's going to buy it. So at the time, mid 90s, the people that were using them were Mike Porcaro from Toto,
Yeah.
James Lomenzo. There were rockers using them, but they had to address this tone thing or tone perception.
hmm
So the mid range got an overhaul, a boost, much more than it had had on the earlier version. And they took off. I don't know if they took off some of the clarity from the top end, because mine has loads of it. But it wasn't so much more about the slap factor; it was more about the fingers and pick factor.
Right.
Because when I bought my red one, I tried it in the shop and thought, "Oh, it's great." Took it home and I was like, something don't, because I'd played loads of the earlier ones at the Bass Centre,
hmm
and here in 2002, I was playing one that was a 98 model, which is my red one over there. And I took it out on a gig the same night I'd bought it and played it through my rig, not through something in a shop. And I was like, that ain't the bass I think I've bought. It says empathy. And I know it's an empathy, but it doesn't sound out. And it took a bit of investigation. And then when I went to sit at Status, because I took my Series 2000 and my T-Bass back to have some remedial work done, I had a chat with Rob about it. He said, well, no, I retuned the circuit.
Ah.
I re-EQ'd where the parameters were, where the shelving levels were for the different frequencies. He said, that's why your one, which is a 98, sounded completely different to the anything from 1990 through to about 95, 96.
Yeah.
So that's the story. So I've encountered many people on Facebook pages. Joe Goose and I have had this chat as well. People buy an empathy and think they know what it's going to sound like. So they're either after the latter side and they try out an early one and go, oh no, it doesn't work. Or they're after an earlier version, play a later one and go, oh God, oh, where's all that mid coming from? I mean, you can pull the mids out, but still, it's the way that circuit is tuned and voiced is different to the way they were first time round.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've kind of noticed it's funny. People used to, Martin Sims calls me an Anglophile because, when I first
You
met,
shouldn't go around calling people names.
well, I mean, that's what we have. So, and a curry. So,
Right.
right. So, because he didn't realize that some of us that are slightly nutters on this side of the pond like things that are British made.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few GBs over here that I've seen.
Yep.
There's very few. What's really crazy is periodically I see someone pop up with a Heyman 2020.
Right.
And that's something, oh, okay. Or a Shergold. There's a few Shergolds. Most of the time, the Shergolds are in the hands of someone who wants to be Mike Rutherford and kind of the Genesis. But I've somehow managed to get JD more traction. And the wall bases are everywhere because there's a I don't know what I'd call it. I think I call it a mystique, not a mistake, but a mystique. Because it's the mysterious wall base, but it's so funny when I run these things, people are like, is that an Alembic? And we go through all that rubbish. But there's not a lot of people that I'm aware of that play a lot of British basses. And all of these things kind of dial in. And even the Status, there's a few people who really like them and it shows. I know there's a guy, some years back, I purchased a classic Series 1, which was the big red Series 1 Mark King recreation JD. And he wanted a Status 1. And he found one with the GMT pickups, all that sort we were talking about. And that's what he wanted. And then he found an Alembic and all bets were off. And I ended up with the Series with a letter. Ironically, it had a letter in the case that had been laminated that was from John Diggins that said that the pickups in this particular bass had been taken out of Mark King's bass.
Right.
And swapped out and all that sort. So I don't even remember where that one went. But I mean, I've got a video of me playing it on the YouTube channel, but I honestly don't recall where that one went.
They sprout legs and leave.
Well, when you have a number of them, it'd be like trying to go back and find out where all the Ricks went. There's no way. There's no bloody way where 170 some odd Ricks went.
Yeah, good luck with keeping tabs on that lot.
Yeah, we'll pass.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right, my man. I'm going to... Go on.
I was done. Go ahead.
Go.
No?
I was just going to say, I'm going to start wrapping things up because I've got to get my backside out the door for a gig later on. Well, I've got to have dinner and I've got a couple of songs to run. Yeah,
I just got a message that says they're ready for us to do an interview with Applehead, the metal band.
Excellent.
So how's that for timing?
Good. That's very good. Well done. Look forward to reading it, hearing it, watching it.
All this goofiness, yes.
All of those. Those. Mate, have a great weekend. Thank you for your time.
See you soon.
All right. See you soon. Take it easy. Cheers, mate. And there we go. Jamie Millard. And as I said, I've got to wrap things up. It's 5:05 here in London, here in the UK. Thank you very much, everyone. Live chat 100. Very much appreciated. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for getting involved. All the messages, fabulous. Thank you to John for the super chat payment. Thank you very much. Guys, have a great week. Enjoy the content. If you haven't seen this week's videos, there were 2 videos, Gig Vlog 3 and my 5 pieces of advice I'd give myself if I could go back 30 years. Links are at the top of the live chat window. You'll find them on the YouTube channel, of course. Welcome to all new subscribers. Thanks for getting on the bus. Thanks for all the likes, the comments, the shares this week. Thank you for getting involved in the live chat. Where would I be without you? 100. Next week's 101. How about that? We'll probably race through to 200. We will see. Let me know also by social media or on the community tab what you want to do with the live chat. Do we stay with Saturdays from the end of March, or do we go back to Tuesdays? What works for everyone? I'll put a poll up on the community tab, see what everyone thinks. We've done, I think, 7 weeks of these on Saturdays. Cheers, Joe. Take it easy. Enjoy your new JD. Play it lots. So I just need to know, do people want to keep it on a Saturday, or do you want to move back to the old Tuesday evening? Well, evening here in the UK, afternoon and morning in the US, of course. But let me know. Let me know what would work for you. So on that note, I'm going to wrap everything up. Take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your bass playing. New content up this week, and I'll see you next Saturday. I think we're at 2 o'clock again next week. Let me just check. Make sure I've got the details right. That'd be a good start. Next Saturday is Live Chat 101. We are going from 2 o'clock. So it'll be a 2 till 5, 2 till 6 affair. So have a great week. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. If you're out driving, if you're traveling to gigs, be careful. Drive carefully. You don't know what idiots are on the road. I'll see you next Saturday. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for enjoying the cake. I know I certainly did. Take care. See you next week.